Welcome back once again, all you Warhammers and Warhammies, to the best episode of Big M's Power Hour to date. I am your host, Big M, along with the best co-host in the world, Cole Vassie. How are you doing, Cole?
I'm doing great, buddy. Thank you. Thank you.
Uh,
Glad to be back.
how was your Christmas?
It was very good. If not tiring, lots of running around. But it is what it is. It
Yeah,
is for everybody, I'm sure. We all run around, see family, get the joy of actually getting to see everyone, people you don't get to normally see. So
yeah. For us, it was go to her family in the morning, my family in the evening, and then. Um, did you get anything good?
anything good. I mean, I got a couple gift cards at places and
Doesn't
things like
have to
that.
be Warhammer related. We're not that on the nose.
Okay, okay. Not overly, not this year. I've got a couple gift cards, things like that. We're
Hmm.
trying to, especially with moving around and everything. I pretty much said, "Hey, I'm going to be doing work on a house once I move into there. So some Lowe's gift cards or things like that would be very helpful. So they will be future gifts, which I will use.
Yeah,
But for the moment, I got the usual. Your socks, a couple of shirts, a nice new jacket because you need it,
yeah.
and yeah, some gift cards to work on a house.
Yeah, not to dox you too much, but this
That's
time,
okay.
next episode, you will be in Ohio.
Yes, I
That's
will be. I will be.
that's a filth
So
you just won't clear off.
no, no, that probably won't wash off too quickly. I have no idea what will be behind me yet either, so I'll have to figure that out. If it's just a white wall, I apologize, everybody. Not that you really look at me all that much,
If
but
it's a white wall, I'll get you a green screen for some background. All right,
oh, there we go. There we go.
housewarming gift.
Yeah. I'll see if I can get some good like Warhammer themed pictures behind me
Yeah,
and
there you
stuff. That'll be good. That'll be good.
go. Yeah, for me, it was once again like it's very entertaining. Like my brother and I, we don't really talk too much. It's not like we avoid each other or anything. It's just the nature of our relationship,
Right.
and my brother has a very difficult time expressing any emotion.
Okay.
So he expresses himself through gifts.
Ah, okay.
So
Okay.
he always goes above and beyond for that stuff. So like,
Sweet.
so I got him. There's a new uh, there's a Japanese action figure company called SH Fig Arts,
Okay.
and they just released a first form Frieza from Dragon Ball Z with his little pod that he's in.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
and that's right up his alley. So like I got him that, and then I also got him. Square Enix made a Ramza figure, who's the main character from Final Fantasy Tactics.
Okay.
So I got him those things, and he was delighted. Then again,
Wonderful.
he still went more overboard than that.
Well, I now understand why you're such a good gift giver then, if that is how you communicate with your brother.
So he found a Gundam model for me that's definitely going to be high on the list of things to get built.
Yeah.
It's a combination of my two favorite mobile suits. So
Okay.
since I was introduced to Gundam, like everyone else in America, to Gundam Wing, uh, the Tulgis was originally my favorite, and then whenever I spawned off and got into the Universal Century, which, sorry guys that don't know anything about Gundam, I'm not going to explain it.
It's okay.
My
I'm as
favorite,
clueless as the rest of them.
yeah.
We're all good.
So my favorite suit there is the suit called the Sazabi. You can always just Google it. He found a suit, an actual model that doesn't exist in a show or anything, where it took the two suits and fused them together.
Very cool.
Then, other than that, he got me the Tick omnibus comic.
Tick Omnibus comic.
Yeah,
Okay.
I assume the Tick was probably after your time.
I don't really recognize the name The Tick. So
So the Tick was, I mean, originally was a comic, of course,
okay.
but the comic didn't necessarily get all that popular, even though it was very well done.
Hmm.
But it was translated into a Saturday morning cartoon show that was beyond hilarious. Like it
One.
was.
I can only imagine with a superhero name of the Tick.
Oh, it
So,
has no relation. No relation.
oh,
He's just giant blue, like he has a blue suit.
okay, sure.
I mean, the show basically makes fun of, tongue in cheek, makes fun of comics on its own.
Very nice.
So like you have, so in the comic, I can't remember the character's name in the comic book, but in in the show, there's a Batman knockoff called Deflator Mouse.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
and he's more busy like looking cool on trying to get like his cloak to billow in the wind.
Of course. You got to set up for that right moment. You know.
Oh yeah, dude, yeah, we have some learning to do here. But other than that, he also got me all three parts of the Age of Apocalypse comic series,
Yeah,
which again is also before your time.
just just slightly.
But that was a really cool. That's where I got my love for like dark post-apocalyptic futures.
Okay,
So
okay.
just for your record,
Please.
essentially, this is. Have you heard of the FX show Legion?
Yes, I have heard of it.
So that is in the comic books Xavier's son,
Oh, okay,
and so
okay.
he essentially in this alternate timeline goes back and kills Xavier before he forms the X-Men.
Hmm.
And so Apocalypse then basically is unfettered and
Can do whatever he wants.
takes
Yeah.
over all of North America. And
Hmm.
so instead, Magneto forms the X-Men
Very cool. Okay.
in Charles
Okay.
Xavier's stead. And so like whereas Charles Xavier was his like teaching philosophy is like learn to control your powers,
Right.
and in this Magneto is like push your powers as far as you can.
Right. Right.
So like
Just push the absolute limit, and then we'll pull back if we have to.
So like Iceman, you like they don't really tell you exactly what happened, but basically it's like Iceman used his powers like that. He pushed himself so far that he actually lost his like human body form. So
Oh
he's
wow.
literally just now living ice.
He's just ice.
Yeah. And so like there's like all this cool like dark stuff going on. Like Cyclops works for Apocalypse.
Okay.
Wolverine took his one eye, so he actually is a Cyclops now.
Very nice.
And in the process, Cyclops blew off Wolverine's hand.
Okay.
Yeah, so like
Yeah,
everyone's
that
living.
sounds like an interesting.
Oh, it's so cool. Everyone's living
Yeah.
underground. Like everything's, and since of course it's a one off. It's like
Right.
a limited series. They're like, oh, if we're gonna kill a character, we're just gonna kill a character.
Right. Who cares? It's not going to hurt anything, right? So
Right.
let's just go for it.
So I was collecting those as they were coming out, and of course I always loved the series. I'm waiting for Age of Apocalypse, Crisis Protocol figures because
There
they
you
have to
go.
come. They have to be in
There
the
you
works.
are. Now they know exactly what you're after.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and get into our news articles here.
Right.
So we'll touch on a little bit of Warhammer before we lose everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So going all the way back to November 2nd, real quick, another addendum here. I do apologize about not having a regular episode last month. The intent was to do it. The special wasn't supposed to be the episode for the month, but that's the way it turned out because
Yeah.
I ended up with COVID for like 2.5 weeks. So
That'll do it.
I'm perfectly fine now. It was nothing more than just a bad flu, but yeah, there was no way I was putting an episode together during that.
Nope. I understand.
All right, so starting off, November 2nd, Battletome, Slaves of Darkness has new war scrolls to bring ruin to the mortal realms. We're going to do our quickest review of a Battletome ever because I haven't read this book.
Same.
It seems pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, it reads
Yeah.
pretty cool myself.
I love all the new models. I think they're all
Yeah.
super cool looking. Um, all I know is I heard it sounds like Archeon is not going to be the end all be all anymore. Which,
Yeah. Little iffy on how I feel about that, but
um,
is what it is.
there's I have a very specific feeling on the supermodels, if you know what I mean by
Okay.
that.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Our large gods and things of that
I
nature. Yeah.
want them. I, I'm torn because I don't mind them being in the top tables.
Okay.
The problem is, whenever you make a war scroll good enough to be in the top tables, they're
Mhm.
essentially then almost an auto include for everyone else.
I suppose. I always felt like Archeon was definitely a build around piece, though. You
Right,
couldn't just throw him in there and not support him, because if you
right,
did that, he was kind of not worth his points at all.
right. And well, again, on top of that, he's also half your army points. So,
Right. Yes. So you better have
um,
built around him. I hope that you thought that far through.
yes.
Yeah.
God, I got 1,200 points left. What am I going to do? Well, he wasn't 1,200 points, but
Right. No.
um, I want them viable without being dominating, like as far as appearing in lists.
Yeah. No. I
It's
understand what
it's
you
a
mean.
very
It's
it's
a
a
difficult line to
yeah,
ride
it's
if
a
you want
very
something like that.
small
Yeah.
window is what I'm looking for the big guys, because like
Right.
if you go too far, then all you see is them every time, and then every time you play that army, it's like, oh God Almighty, I have to climb over this hurdle again.
Right.
And then if you go too low, then you have this giant, beautiful model that just sits at home because no one wants to take it.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying, but I would err on the side of I'd rather see that cool, awesome model
Yeah.
than not at all.
Well, I mean, like if you like, I think about whenever, because I've personally fought against Archeon. I've only fought against him 3 times,
Okay.
and each time's just been an absolute nightmare.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, again, it's been with my no, my Giants twice and my Stormcast once.
Okay. So I can definitely see how you would feel like that with that kind of matchups with
Right.
him.
So like everything. So I just don't have like those armies just don't have the tools for it, and it's like, okay, we're gonna get this wrench and we're gonna hope it works as a hammer for right now. And
Right. Whereas I love how it almost, to me, whenever I'm playing against it, feels almost chess matchy, where I'm trying to get you to come on, put your queen in the middle of the board for me so I can get rid of it.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. So well, like I said, I'm glad the army's out. I'm glad the book is out. I'm
Yeah.
glad we got new models. I hope that we'll save it for the end of the show. Well, I think we'll talk a little bit about next year and stuff like that for after our Terathi talk. So
After that,
yeah, we'll
gotcha.
save it for that. Okay, moving along here.
Sounds good.
So we're talking about the Battle Force boxes that came out. I know it's already past Christmas. I don't even know if they're available, but it is now a
Yeah.
tradition that whenever the Battle Forces come out, we talk about the boxes. I think previously we've actually had episodes just about the Battle Force boxes.
Yeah, at least it's felt like it because we have talked about quite a few. It seems like
Well, it's kind of it's a
there's quite a
festive
lot
feel.
going on, especially this year. There were quite a few boxes.
Yeah. All right. So starting with the 40K ones again. Not a 40K
Mhm.
channel, so we won't spend too much time on them. So we have the Adeptus Sororitas.
Yeah.
What do you think about this one?
Um, I'll tell you what, just like on a surface level for all these boxes, I like that there is actually it almost feels like a cohesive list or a goal
Yeah.
that hey, we want to fill the patrol detachment or something like that, so you could actually play a game of Warhammer with these
Yeah,
boxes.
it
Whereas
definitely
there
didn't
have been
feel.
times in the past where we have not had that.
Yeah, it's every like, what do we got in the back?
Right. Grab the sweepings. No, this here we actually have nice champion. I like how we have the armored suit, and if you like these suits, this is probably the box for you to start this sister's army because that is the core of it with
Yeah.
just a few troop choices mixed in there to give you an excuse.
Yeah, honestly, like if I was going to start a Sisters Battle or a Sisters Army, this is where I would have started. Um, the only thing is, I think with the named character in the middle, I almost feel like it
Yeah.
is a better starting army box instead of a reinforcement box.
No, I don't disagree with that at all. This is something that you went, yep, I'd like to begin that.
Um, onto the Custodes. This is the same thing. This is very much uh, a starting set. You once you get this box set, you do not need any more
I was
Custodes
gonna
on
say
foot. Like,
you're pretty well set with this Custodes army. You take this. I mean, you could take two of these and smash it together and be like, cool. Let's
oh my
play
dear
some
God! If
Warhammer.
you brought, what is that like? If you brought 30 Custodes on foot, your opponent would
Six
be like,
Terminator.
"What are you doing?
That's true. That's true.
Are you high? Are you?" So
You
again,
feeling
another
okay, buddy?
great start, but if someone already has it, that's not where you're going to get them. So,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the Adeptus Mechanicus, but it looks like a good box set to me. This
Yeah.
actually reminds me a lot of the Sisters.
Yeah, I don't know if I know enough about them. It doesn't feel like there's enough in the troop department here,
No,
really.
not yet.
But this is, I believe, those the servitors. There we have six of them. I remember playing against them many times and them being pretty nasty. So if you've already kind of started your force, I think this is probably where you would go. Like you've already got
Yeah.
your base foot soldiers, you got your troop already covered. Now let's go play with the toys. The Castellan robots are, I always remember, because I wanted to build this army at one point.
Yeah.
They are ridiculously fun looking and terrifying, so they're always good.
Yeah, my last experience with the Adeptus Mechanicus was whenever I was building a Grey Knights army, I bought some Scutari for long range support.
Okay.
So that's how long ago that's been. And
Day
then,
or two. Day or two.
then, of course, we have the Imperial Knight, which I don't know what more you want.
I mean, yeah, I think you won't need to buy any more armigers after you buy this box, if that's how you want to start.
If you really love someone, get them too. That's,
Yeah.
they went a little nutso with Death Guard.
Yeah, let's just throw the Primarch in there.
Primarch, and then,
Unit.
like, what do we got? Just a bunch of foot guys and then some Terminators?
I was gonna say, I think it's one box of foot guys, at least one squad's worth, and a squad of Terminators. And yeah, we're just gonna try and run them over.
Sounds like just get some of those tanks and move on with your day.
I think so. Yeah.
Same thing with Thousand Suns. I think the only this is weird because, like, for me, again, I haven't had any experience with Thousand Suns, but like, it seems like they are very Terminator focused.
Um. So they're odd. I think a unit of Terminators wouldn't hurt to put in here, but I personally feel like their base troop feels so Terminator esque right now,
Okay.
especially with. So if you shoot them with a damage one weapon, they get +1 to their armor save to start with. So they're on a 2-up if you're shooting at them with like a last gun.
Okay.
And then because they're in power armor, they ignore 1 point or end. So they're kind of like they're in Terminator armor to begin with.
Woof.
Yeah.
And then I think, like, for these Bastion strike forces,
Yeah.
this seems like a great addition, but it certainly does not seem like a foundation of an army.
Um, it just, I don't know, because the
Seems
problem
like
is it's
awkward.
all intercessors.
Yeah.
So it is almost the foundation of an army. And
Just
almost
not a
any
lot.
Space Marine army that I feel is competitive, at least at one point, was you had to have aggressors, a bunch of
Oh, yeah.
aggressors. And I mean, if you're someone who has been looking around for the heavy intercessors and things like that, I believe this is probably the best way to go and grab them all. So this would be a fun box.
And of course, the guy in the middle is probably my favorite Space Marine model at the moment.
Oh, is he? I mean, he is pretty cool. So I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Tor Garadon, yeah, pretty cool.
And then we have the Raven Guard box. This seems a little more. I don't know. A little more. I don't know. A little more something. very.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. Uh,
So they were going with the Raven Guard are definitely the sneaky chapter, and they just kind of cranked that up to 11 with 10 Primaris Reavers, which are the sneaky power armor. Invector tactical war suits can actually be deployed farther ahead because they're sneaky giant suits. Not that I don't like them. I was playing around with lists that ran two of them in my Salamanders army. So I think they can are fine units. I think it's a fun list.
Yeah, well, so that's the 40k ones. I think overall, pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Moving over to the AOS ones. First, we have the Daughters of Cain. I think this one's the miss.
I agreed. This just didn't feel like it was set up correctly. It didn't focus in on one thing for a theme. It just was like, I don't know. Let's grab some of anything.
Right. Let's get a little bit of everything. Here is that.
Look, let's be completely honest. There just shouldn't be 5 Doomfire Warlocks in this box because no one's going to take them anyway.
I mean, it should have been. I think they should have focused in on, either Sisters of Slaughter or Witch Elves or Snakes.
Right. And just kind of, okay, this is the Sisters of Slaughter box. There's a lot of stuff in here that goes around them.
Right.
Or this is the Snake box. It just felt like a smattering.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So this is definitely the potpourri of.
Yeah.
Next up, Cruel Boys. I think if Cruel Boys were good, this would be a good box.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say something bad about it, but the army's not great to begin with, so it was hard for me to say something good about it then.
Yeah, but like I said, look, you have a battle line. You have your crossbow guys in the back that are really good. You have the, I forget what it's called, the fucking swamp thingy, swamp crawler, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, Sludge Raker?
Yeah, that's
something like that? Yeah.
And then, of course, you have the main named guy, the Gobsprack.
Yeah. No, it would be a good one.
Yeah, I said this is, like, if you think, hey, maybe 4th edition, they're really going to redo that book, then...
It might be time to hop in on it, yeah. Go grab the other half of the Dominus boss 3 times over, because they're sitting around everywhere. And
let's say that, like, I'm at a tournament, and we're in round 4, and I'm sitting at 2-1, and I see someone with a Cruel Boys army setting up next to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, shit, how the hell did he get here?
The only thing I'd be worried about is if they're like, cool, I've got a unit of 9 crossbows. Now I'm concerned because that's going to hurt really bad.
Okay, let's move along here. So we got the Squig box. Ike's Squig box is amazing.
Yeah, 2 Mangler Squigs. Cool. Sounds great.
I'm
in.
I was tempted to get this box, but I was like, no.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I hear
you. I have a half-started Squig army from back whenever they were in the box set with Sylvaneth. I need to stop. I need to get rid of that piece, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, I played someone against with a Squig list, and it was rough.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it charges into you, and it does all that. I'm like, whoa, where's all this damage coming from? I do not need this right now.
One of those, I made it first. I get to hit you hard. Don't worry, I turned to dust.
Let's see, the Vermintide, or the Vermin Host. Skaven box, jeez, oh man. I think I remember hearing Vince complain about this box.
Oh, really?
Again, it might be something specific for, like, advanced players or something, but I think this is... Oh, the bell sucks. That's what it is. The bell sucks in the new book.
Don't put the bell in there because we'd rather do something else. Let's just make that 3 more... what are the big rats? Storm Fiends. Just make it 3 more Storm Fiends. Everyone would probably be happier.
Yeah, so this is actually what I think the Daughters box should have looked more like if they wanted to go with you know,
I don't disagree.
Witch elves.
Yeah.
And then I know Tom really liked the Legion of Grief, the Night Haunt box.
I'm, I
I don't.
mean, yeah, it's got a little bit of everything in there. I would have myself. I'm really a big fan of the Revenants, so we
Mhm.
could have just like replaced one thing in there with Revenants.
So
So yeah,
how everyone else feels about Fire Slayers is how I feel about Night Haunt.
they all look the same. You
I
here?
found
Yeah,
like,
that's fair.
yeah, they're all ghosts. That's all.
You know what? You're not too far off, so I can't argue too much with you.
um, I think nope, we're not last. So we got the
No,
Sylvaneth.
yeah.
Uh,
I think this is a disappointing box because I don't think you'll use too terribly much of this. You might use one of the Tree Revenants, and yeah.
I mean, so the Spike Revenants, you know, it says right there can be used as Tree Revenant. So you can get the Tree Revenants. Like I said, I feel like the Tree Lords slash Spirit of Durthu. Well, Spirit of Durthu is not bad.
I think you'll use one of the big guys. That'll be it.
I
If you
mean,
want
I
to
guess
build like a
I guess,
competitive list.
yeah, you could probably do Spirit of Durthu, put that on the list, and then use the other Tree Lord Ancient for summoning, and then
Sure.
you could use the Dryads for basing or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I don't even remember what Drycha's War Scroll is in the new book. In the new,
Couldn't tell you. I haven't seen her actually
yeah,
played in the new Battle Tome,
it's a
so
shame.
I assume not the greatest, but I don't know.
Here's another one I'm less than thrilled with: the Stormcast Eternals.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
I appreciate them trying to get people to play these units.
yes. Yes. There are 3 units in this box, the front 3, that are just like, well, nobody plays them, so I know how to get them out of the warehouse.
Yeah, and again, I'm telling you, with the, um, I'm blanking on the I want to say Judicators, but that's the regular bow guys. These bow people, Vindictor,
Vigilor.
Vigilors, yes. Um,
Yeah, Vigilors. Vigilors.
I love their models. I love the rules. They're just
Mhm.
like, still, even after the point drops, like 40 points too expensive.
Yeah, they're just so middling feeling.
Yeah, like their shooting isn't great. Your whole point in putting them on is just to get the one shot to hit. Like if I
Yep.
could do one damage, that's all I'm looking for.
Right, I'm looking for that so I can get +1 to hit.
Right. Which
Wow,
I
it's
also
really
think
expensive, +1 to hit.
right. Right. If they were like really good at shooting or had 2 shots apiece or maybe even +1 to wound, or I know heaven forbid they don't want to reroll, but like reroll failed something
Right. No, I hear you. I
because
think a
the
+1 to wound would be very interesting. I think you'd
yeah.
see them taken a lot more just
Yeah.
because +1 to wound's so rare in that army.
Well, I mean it's there is I think you have the no, I can't think of any
Okay.
outside of general rules.
Yeah, I don't know of any way to really get you a +1 to wound in that army, which I think that would be a pretty big boon. People would build around getting that
Yeah.
if they could.
And then for the vanquishers, people are saying they're not too bad, but like
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold on them either. So,
yeah, I mean, it's just I guess if you wanted to play a friendly game, they're fine. Like I'd say like if the Vindictors, the guys with the swords and spears, if
mhm,
they're an 8, these guys are a 7.
fair enough. Yeah, I can't say I disagree with that. I feel like I'd just much rather some some spears and shields
Right.
and call it good
Right. Again, I'd rather I'm doing mortal wounds on the 6.
on
I
sixes.
have a better
Yeah,
save.
yeah,
I
it's
have a
hard to
better
argue
reach.
with that.
Yeah. So, like I said, it looks like 40k won this year, but we'll get them
Yeah,
next
I
year.
agree. I agree.
All right, moving along. November 9th, Dawnbringer previews. So we got some peekies at this stuff.
Yeah,
Um, I I'm glad to hear that after our soiree last weekend,
Hmm.
into actually that's let me pull back and rephrase. After last weekend's soiree into fantasy, are you more excited for Old World?
Am I more excited for the old world after our soiree in the last?
Because I know last
Shit.
time we
I'm
talked
gonna have
about
to
this,
say yes. You
yeah,
son of a bitch. You're
last
right.
time you were
Yeah.
like, I don't care.
Yep. Nope. I would say I care about it more now. Yeah.
And we'll go into a little bit more. I think
As to
we'll touch
why.
on that as
Yeah.
well. Honestly, like, I'm going to be pretty blatantly honest here. Um, I'm still not impressed with these. I don't know what you call them, previews,
Renderings. Yeah.
renderings.
Yeah.
I think they're fine. They're to me they're coming off as a little cartoony.
Yeah. I
Now
see that.
again, with that being said, I am fully aware that renderings change whenever they go from render to a sculpt. You know, whenever they actually
Right.
get turned into something real. So we'll just have to wait and see. We'll just have to
Yeah.
wait and see.
I mean, they're definitely keeping to the old world roots with this idea,
Yeah.
just the way it all looks.
And I think
So
that's kind of one of my issues is I was kind of like I was expecting things to move forward a little bit because like everything
this does
else,
feel like a step back. I can see where you're getting that. Yeah.
nothing like everything else that's out right now feels like um, it's moving away from the old world, whereas these feel like they're stepping back towards the old world.
I can see what you're saying. Yeah, these
And
definitely do that.
and I was kind of expecting, like in all honesty, I was kind of expecting. I mean, I was expecting to see like gritty survivors, you know, like kind of like, um, what is that
Almost
from
a
Game of Thrones, like the North Watch or whatever.
okay. Something that's more of like a post-apocalyptic, like we've seen hell and we're okay still.
That's exactly. I was kind of looking
Yeah.
for a post-apocalyptic rebuilding, you know, medieval,
Hmm.
as opposed to the pageantry of leaning into what the
The
Empire
more
was.
high fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I mean, that's everyone else seems to be very excited for it. So,
Right.
uh,
So
like I said, I think it's going to be fun. I look forward to seeing what, assuming that all the old staples are coming back, like the Witch Hunter and Warrior Priest are coming back. Like, since we've seen, what are we up to? Like 6 Witch Hunters now?
yeah, something ridiculous. Like we've got to have a full unit of them here soon, right?
Yeah. All right, let's see. Then we got. So this was something I was really excited to talk about last month, and we never got a. We obviously didn't have an episode. November 10th, Warhammer Age of Sigmar Meta Watch. Your questions answered. I actually sat down and took a listen to this, and what was his name? Matt Rose? Was that it? Well, let's see if I can get his name real quick. Not Simon Grant. I like his shirt though.
Yeah.
Matt Rose. Yes, look at that.
Look at that. You did know what you were talking about.
Sorry, people. With COVID, I've been having a really hard time with names. So to pull this out of 2 months ago is.
Right.
He was. I was blown away with how intelligent not only the questions were, but how intelligent his answers were.
Yeah. No, there's something to be said about that for actually taking the time to think about a question and give a response the community might not be completely like, really, do you even know what you're talking about?
Right.
Type of deal.
And that's one of the things is like, you know, we listen, and again, no offense. I'm not meaning to be, this is not an attempt to besmirch GW. But
Right.
like, whenever previously, because Matt Rose is, I think, a relatively new hire, I think, like in the last year.
I can't say I recognize the name too
Well,
often.
yeah, he doesn't have a British accent, so.
Well, there we go.
whenever the 40K guys talk about things, it's always like it's very generic. It's very
Right.
doughy with their answers.
Hmm.
With him, he actually answers questions from a perspective of a game designer.
Yeah. No, I can't say you're wrong. We've definitely had some of these MetaWatch articles though that have you've looked at and you've gone, Really? That's what you got out of all this data?"
Right,
So,
right.
like, not perfect, but yes, no, I agree. I agree.
But I think, yeah. Well, again, like I said, it's Games Workshop is a
Right.
slow moving boat,
It
and
is a yes, it is a large boat to move. Put it
with
that way.
I'll say it this way to make it to put my expectations as clear as I can here.
Sure.
I look forward to seeing where we are this time next year.
Okay. Okay.
Because again, probably by the time he came on, these battle tomes, like all the third edition battle tomes, have probably been written.
No, you're probably not wrong. Is everything was already in motion by the time he was put on.
Right. So super impressed with everything he said and the way he said it, and like even his there was again it's been over a month
Right.
since I've listened to this, so I don't know the specifics anymore, but there was even times where he just plain said, yeah, this isn't good enough.
Yeah.
It's like that's not good enough, we got to do better than that.
Mhm.
I saw there's one chart on here of internal balance of War Scrolls used,
Ah, the bottom. Yeah.
and I'm like, again, it says they talk about
So
495 events, and I'm like, I don't know where you're getting that from. Like,
I mean, there are quite a few events that they've pulled a lot of this data from. And I see what they're going for is, oh, hey, how often are all of these units even used? Like, do they even use half of what we have in here? And I think they're completely correct whenever they have Stormcast Eternals at the very bottom in this list because you've got 50 units that do the exact same thing, but one of
yeah,
them is just clearly better. So you
which
don't use the other 49.
which of course we have come up with the solution for that several times over,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that you have to break it down,
yes,
whether it's individual battle tomes or you just do something like you did with the orc book and break them down internally.
right.
But like, also though, I don't know where the hell they're getting 28 war scrolls being used.
No, that is true. There are a couple of these that I think they're being a
Generous.
little generous on. Yes, like oh, it showed up in one list out of these 400 and something or other matches,
Yeah.
so obviously it must get used.
Right. But again, like I look at things like so. First, I like the Suns list being 6 out of 6.
Right.
That's a fib. That's
I
a
mean,
that's a big
I
old fib.
I don't think so. I mean, just before the newest book had come out was the last time I actually got to play against them in tournament play, and I had one of each of the big guys and a couple of babies on that table. So to make me believe that the newest model has also seen play in both forms, not a huge stretch. And
Well,
they're not saying these are good lists. They're
well,
saying
so
these are lists.
so here's the fib.
Okay.
They don't have 6 war scrolls.
Well, sure they do.
So they have Kraken Eater,
Mm-hmm.
War Stomper,
Yep.
Executioner Guy,
Yes.
and um, the minis, Man Crusher.
Sure.
So that's 4,
Four.
and we do have some extra to go. I'm not done.
Okay.
So the other option is you can also go with the group of Man Crushers. I don't know if
Sure,
you
but
want
I
to
don't
count
call
that
that
as.
a war scroll. Yeah.
So then you also have the mercenary card of each of the 3. three big guys.
Oh, geez, I think you're making it a lot more than what it is. Yeah, I think they're
So there's
okay.
no way to get to 6. You can either get 5 and ignore the mercenaries.
Oh no, no, we also have the new king.
Well, I think this is before the king.
Um,
Because this
I'm
was early
assuming
November.
this was okay. When did that book come out? Jeez. The only way I could think of is that they were talking about using the
Might
new
have been
king.
doing that way. So then I guess that way they could do one of the big each guys, one each of the big guys, the mini by himself, the 3-man crushers together, and King
Right.
Broad. So that would be 6. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, because this was only data collected from the 6th of September to the 6th of November, so wasn't a huge time of collecting all of this.
You know, again, Carriage on Overlords. Also disagree a little bit. Well, I guess I can see what the 3 are. I'm sure it's Sky Wardens, Engine Riggers, and probably the chemist, not chemist, the navigator.
There you go. No, I understand what you're saying, though.
Yeah, like I said, some of it's just weird. Like 21 Fire Slayer units. Like,
Yeah, no, I need to actually go back through because we've got 21 Deepkin units, and I'm sitting here kind of struggling to figure out what on earth we're all talking about. So,
well, what I think is funny with Fire Slayers is you have 3 units of.
I mean, yeah,
You have Volkite. Oh, I'm sorry. So 4. Volkite with shield, Volkite with twin axes, Hearthguard, and Hearthguard Berserkers, and Auric Hearthguard. So
right. And
that
then I
means,
think everything else is just the monster, and then what is mounted on the monster.
so what you're telling me is that army has 17 heroes.
Probably, yes. You're probably correct.
GW, can you please take an afternoon and care about Fire Slayers?
No.
Like,
No.
just a little bit. Just a tiny bit of love. Just a little bit. Just, like, not even real love. Like, pity love. Like, just enough
Jeez.
to, like,
Jeez.
walk them off the cliff.
Wow.
All right, let's move on here. So, okay. Darktide, November 17th.
Yeah.
So I was very excited for this. I got into the beta. I really liked the beta, so I pre-ordered it. So I kept getting to play in the beta. My laptop was struggling a little bit. It's like taking me like probably somewhere between 1 and 2 minutes to load up a match. So I was on the loading screen for that long. So whenever by the time I got in, people were actually just playing.
Yeah, so that is still an issue, even on my gaming PC.
Yeah.
So don't think it's just your laptop. It is.
But then I was a victim of the issue that a lot of people are familiar with of the system requirements going up upon release.
Right.
So now I can't play it anymore. And since they didn't parse out the actual game from the beta, I'm not able to get a refund through Steam because I've played it for 48 hours.
Nice.
But the game is a lot of fun.
Yes, it is.
It is classic Fat Shark. It's a classic Fat Shark game where the game comes out in a state that has a great foundation, but outside of that is in tatters.
That's fair. That's fair.
There's what, 5 maps?
5 or 6. Yeah.
There's 5 or 6 maps that all look very much the same. There's 1 or 2 that's outside, I think,
Right.
which is rare. And I don't mean to besmirch them on that because
No.
it's Warhammer. Like, it's supposed to be, it's 40k.
It's gritty, dark. place.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything is supposed to be very samey, very, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it is what that is. But like, yeah. So we'll see. I, coming from Vermintide, where each of the characters started with 3 different classes you could go into, just now having 5 classes? 5 classes
No.
with no choices. They said they're going to be releasing one quarterly for the foreseeable future.
That's good.
I'm interested to see where they go. Yeah. I really like the game, and I really wish I could play it. The only thing I'll give actual criticism for, everything they deviated away from Vermintide from, I feel like they went with a worse option.
Yeah, no, it should have felt more like Vermintide. It does not. Um, I mean, I do enjoy the fact that I do have to straighten up and care a lot more whenever I decide I want to try a 4 or 5 star mission.
Yeah.
It's not just throw yourself in there. Whereas Vermintide, yeah, if you failed a mission of Vermintide, you were really screwing around.
Yeah, again, with the difficulty, this game is definitely a lot harder, which I can appreciate. But like even though the stages were strung together in Vermintide, it was still like some semblance of a story going on.
Yeah.
Whereas this
That's
is,
fair.
you have no story until you've completed a certain number of missions and got to a certain level, and then they give you a cutscene. And then go back to continue doing the same missions over and over again.
Right. And that cutscene really doesn't serve much of a purpose other than say, hey, something new got unlocked. You should go look around.
Right. And then I'm kind of torn. How do you feel about them going from set characters that have personality and have a background, as opposed to now you just making a character yourself?
The quips that each of the voice lines has is still entertaining enough that it's still good. But yeah, I can see how that is a loss for some folks. Just the fact that there's a lot less personality of each of the characters. Like you don't have the same, oh, I've heard this type of line. These two always argue and bicker if you put them on a team type of thing.
Right. Yeah. Again, like, I do feel like that's a little bit of a loss, but at the same time, I also like, oh, I want to play Psyker.
Right.
I get to play Psyker whether someone else is playing Psyker or not.
That is true. That is the nice thing.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think overall it's gonna be good. Someday maybe I'll get a new computer or something. I don't know, and I'll play it again.
There we go. Good. Good.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I think it's a good game. If you have a good computer, try it out.
Agreed.
Okay, then we had our Warhammer preview online. Take a Skull, Leave a Skull, November 19th, where they showed off some of your boys.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
Good old Cole.
remember whenever they released pictures of the last ones, and I said they were a little tame?
Yes. Yes, I
This-
think we both agreed with that, is they felt tame.
This is exactly what I was expecting and what I wanted from these guys.
Yes. No, these feel new. They're fresh. They're not the exact same models with slight changes. These, yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
like I said, these guys feel ferocious.
Yes.
Even the little guys that aren't even Space Marines, the cultists.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they are also still terrifying. I love the masks they're all wearing.
Are you starting this army when it comes out?
Oh, I've got far too many projects to start another army.
So-
As much as I might want to, I have to stop myself somewhere.
All right, we also got the new Beast Lord. Yay!
Yeah, new Beast Lord.
So we're getting the Beast of Chaos.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. No, and the updated Beast Lord's cool. I'm glad Beasts of Chaos are finally going to get their new Battle Tome, although the White Dwarf has done wonders for them, quite honestly. They almost don't need this Battle Tome. They're probably all actually
Yeah.
scared of it right now.
Yeah,
From
exactly.
thinking about it.
Like, come on, guys, we just got good. We don't need a new battle tome. No, no, no.
Yeah, no. Actually, just leave it at the White Dwarf. We're good.
Then we're also getting the Gits book, and they showed us
Yeah.
the new Gits Riders, which, I think the Gits Riders look cool, but
Yeah, they're cool.
I
They
think it was-
definitely pay homage to the original.
I think it
way
was the
back.
wrong. I think it was the wrong unit.
Oh, what would you have rather seen?
Spider Riders.
Spider Riders, updated Spider Riders.
I mean, again, like, so we know a decent amount of people that love the Gits.
Yes.
None of them, and only one person I've ever talked to at a tournament has ever mentioned the Wolf Riders. I forget that there are Wolf Riders.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing.
It is always Gits on foot, Spider Riders, and Squigs. And then, of
Yep.
course, the troll people, but the troll people are separate from.
Right, they're in their own little space whenever they're playing that book.
Again, I think the models look great.
Yeah.
I think they look fantastic. But again, you gave us models no one wants. Like, you went the one.
Yeah, they could have done the refresh of all of the Spider Riders, and they probably would have had people being like, well, I have to go play the Spider Rider army of this book now.
Right. I bet you,
All the
because
Squig people would have done it.
which again we'll get into in a little bit here, but the giant spider from your list still looks awesome. So if they would have literally just refreshed the Spider Rider kit, they could have
Right.
just brought back that model, and boom.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong.
So then we got into Underworld's Gnarlwood. They showed us the Gits Warband.
Right.
It's fine. See? Put Chuck, jeez, oh man. Put
Boy.
Cole to sleep.
Boy.
Put Cole
Yeah.
to sleep. That's,
Yeah.
I get it. It's fine. I have no
It's
complaints
okay.
about it. They certainly didn't break any new grounds.
No, they really didn't. Nothing. I mean,
Black
good looking
cloaks.
sculpts.
Mushrooms, squigs,
Done.
done. Book it.
Ship it.
And again, to me, like I said, I hope there are people still out there that appreciate Underworlds, but I'm no longer one of them, and I can't even force myself at this point.
I know. I was excited whenever you were into it, like that I might start playing it, but
Well, look,
especially
here's
as
the thing.
time has gone on and the card stuff has kept going like it has.
I
become such a
still
pain.
have all the models. I still have all the cards. So if you ever
Right.
want to play, you tell me what warband you want. I'll get it set up.
Runner. Sounds good.
So moving along here to the, what is this? The House Cador takes a stroll through the ash wastes. So
Yeah. just
Necromunda,
with their-
some Sandwalkers.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool idea. They're adding on to their ash waste from last year now, I think.
Oh, I don't know. Didn't feel like it was that long ago, but
I think it was a while ago, but
I don't even keep track of.
that's fair. It is only Necromunda. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I mean I don't know where Necromunda is being played.
I don't either.
I-
It's not nowhere around me.
I assume there's some massive group somewhere that just
Yeah.
they just froth the mouth about it at all times. I'm not seeing it.
Right.
Continuing the online preview, who is the demonic entity coming to shake up the 41st millennium? It's this guy.
Who is just terrifying. I actually love this model.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce it. Vashtor.
I'm very disappointed that he has my Chaos Dwarf hammer.
Yes, yes, he does. He is wielding that. It is slightly disappointing, but oh, this is some good nightmare fuel of a demon model, and I love it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not specifically ringing my bell, but I can absolutely appreciate what it is for what
Yeah.
it is. Um, yeah, it's cool. It's very well done. Um, I hope the people that get it love it.
Yep. Same. I hope to see an awesome painted one that will just skeeve me out. So that'll be great.
All right, so then we got November 21st, Armies on Parade.
Yeah.
So we got, was this gold? Is that gold right out the gate? Check, prior winners. Prior winners.
There we go.
Oh, I don't even think I pulled up the right one. So all I know is our friend from Ligonier had a beyond amazing Votan.
Oh, yes, Luis.
Yeah, Luis. I don't know how.
Cool. I doubt you're sitting here listening, but if you are, that was beautiful.
That
the
should
love off of that.
The fact that it wasn't on here is
disappointing.
A crime.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we get here? Oh, we got our next MetaWatch article from November 24th. This was, what is this? Oh, this was the changing win rate.
Oh, okay.
Again, I'm not 100% sure where they're getting their numbers from. I think it's funny even seeing their own numbers with Slaanesh dropping another 7%.
I think they're getting a lot of their numbers, and like, don't quote me on this, but I think they're getting a lot of them from the Honest Wargamer at this point, because I feel like he does a very good job of actually compiling a lot of that data.
Well, what's funny is like their data doesn't even line up.
How so?
Well, his numbers are again. The problem is I haven't checked his in a while. But whenever they first started showing numbers, the numbers didn't match up.
It's true.
He'd be saying, "Oh, these numbers are going up," and then GW would be like, "Oh no, they're going down."
Right. No, I hear you.
So it's interesting. I would like to see where they're getting, like, specifically the KO wins.
Yeah, the KO one, the Blades of Corn doesn't feel correct.
I mean, I don't remember the last time. No, that's not true. So the last time I lost to KO was whenever I made some dumb calls at NashCon the previous year. But since then, I look at KO and I go, "Sweet, this will be a nice win."
Right.
Fyreslayers seem a little high.
I think there are some people who just know how to run them. If you don't understand some of the tricks the army's capable of, you'll get caught.
Well, again, I think with the current book, I think there's some gas in the tank, but I think you have to be you basically have to be a Bill, where it's from deployment I know how the army's going to play out, and I know exactly when I'm going to use which one of my once per game abilities.
Right.
And unless you can do that, nah.
Yeah.
And other than that, like, I think Stormcast Eternals, I think they fudged some numbers there.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's just enough data for Stormcast that there's just enough people playing it that almost pushes numbers higher than what they should be.
Right, and that's what I was kind of leaning to, is not that the 50% is wrong, but it's like,
right,
you either take the bullshit list and you're a good player and you win, or you lose with them.
Or you're a new person. Right. Yeah.
So I think that's... I think they might be cutting some ends off of there. But yeah, with the corn, Blades of Corn, 51%. Cole, what are you doing? Get out there, man.
Apparently, I'm not doing anything correctly here. So, you know.
But yeah, like I said, I think... I don't know if Beasts are winning that much. Do you think Beasts are winning that much?
Beasts are doing fantastic right now.
Okay. 61% fantastic?
Yeah, 61% fantastic. You take, what are the dragon ogres. Those models are ridiculously good. You're able to regrow the unit.
Yeah.
There's if oh no, you've done 6 wounds. Cool, you only dropped 1 model off the unit.
Yeah. And again, Daughters of Cain, like
Yep, they're a good
There's-
army. I expect them to be there.
there is nothing that can, like, the only thing you could say about Daughters of Cain is, you idiots, you solved the problem that they have in other armies where it wasn't a problem and left their problem alone.
Yeah.
Idiots. There's no other way to put it. Like, it's
Yeah.
literally like having 2 children. One is flicking matches into a bucket with water, and the other one is in a kindling factory, and you yell at the one with the bucket of water. Like,
Well, yeah, that's the one you can see. If you're blind to the other child,
my
it's okay.
God.
I blame Chuck. That's what
Yes,
I do.
That's exactly. Well, the problem is Chuck doesn't care about snakes, so.
I know. I know.
All right, so then a couple days later, on December 8th, we got another Meta Watch, which was this was an interesting one, where they talked about the win rate comparison from last year to now.
Yeah, which is an odd thing to do, just because, to be quite honest, we're playing a completely different game.
Well, what's also funny is it also contradicts the information from the last one.
Oh.
Well, if you remember, we
Let's
just
see.
looked at.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's got so much lower on a lot of these. Yeah, this evens out a lot of this data
Right.
to make it look better. Oh, wow.
So, like, even if you look, so Cruel Boys was in second to bottom, Gloomspite was up a little bit higher, and then Slanesh was already at the bottom and dropped another 7%, which they're saying here they went up 17%.
Yeah, no. Osiark Bone Reapers were down the low 40s, and now they're at 48%. Yeah.
Right. Right. I mean, like, so a week ago, Beasts of Chaos was at a 61%, and here somehow a week later they dropped 5%.
Right. Nope.
So
I see
again,
it.
so stuff like this is where I go, you're making up numbers.
A little bit. Nope. I can agree with you here. I could see a percentage or point or two changing up, but
Now, with that being
Oof.
said, I do think there are. I would agree with most of the changes, or most of the points. Let's just take the numbers away and just look at the bars.
and just at the bars, yeah, I can agree with a lot of
I
these.
think most of the bars are right. Again, except for Cruel Boys.
Right. Yep.
They weren't winning more last year because they never won.
Right. Right.
Again, I'll say, like, I don't know about Suns.
What is it about Suns?
That they're
I think they were
still
winning.
that they're still winning as much as they're saying they're winning.
I think there are just some armies that flat out can't deal with it.
I guess when you're talking about the giant numbers, you're talking about 50% of people that go 2 and 3. You know, like, not
Right.
50% of the people at tournaments that are doing
2,
like
3, or 3, 2. Yeah.
right, that are doing that 2-3 where they can't get over the Suns hurdle.
Right. Yes. Is this these Sun players are winning at least half of the time, slightly more than.
Right.
Because, okay, they lose round 1. Okay, they probably win round 2, maybe win round 3. They're probably going to go at minimum 2-3. At minimum, a Suns player. Because even if they just keep losing, they'll eventually hit the list that just can't deal enough damage to them.
Right.
So they just get to win.
Yeah, so like I said, I think overall the numbers are fine. But like I said, the specific numbers, just throw them out. Don't even show them to us.
Right, right.
Never
No,
mind.
I feel the Deepkin loss in the bar, but yeah.
What do we say about where's your Blades of Corn? They are
Somehow they are exactly the same.
so they lost that they're above 50
Right.
from 2 weeks ago, and now they've increased their win rate by 1%. So
Somehow. Yeah.
oh
Look,
boy.
if you aren't just trying to hopefully throw Scarbrand into everybody. You aren't playing that army right now.
All right, so let's see here. So December 12th, this year's Boxing Day miniature, which I didn't. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know we had a Boxing Day miniature, but
Yeah, it's first for me to know of that we do this now.
but yeah, so we got a Ghoul King on throne.
Yeah, which I think we've seen. What are they? Rumor engines for him for like ever?
Yeah, we
in a
got
day.
at least two, at least
Yeah.
two. With
Yeah.
the hand on the skull and the hand on the sword.
Yes,
I wouldn't be surprised if the crown or the throne was also.
part of it. Yeah.
I wish they would openly. I wish they would keep track of their rumor engines a little better.
Yeah, not just the community stopping and
Yeah.
pointing out, like, here's all the rumor engines, guys.
Yeah. I think he's cool. I'm interested to see what his rules are.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it's going to be a nightmare.
It's going to be good. I'm sure they'll be all right. Most of the Ghoul Kings are worthwhile for taking. So,
All right, on to probably the article I'm most excited about. December 21st, Jones Handbook 2023. Part A.
yeah. Yeah. Part A. Yeah.
That's actually an interesting. Jones Handbook 2023.
So,
I'll have to go through to see if they continue to talk about getting one every 6 months. But
I'm sure we do. I'm sure we will still see one come this summer.
yeah.
But, as
So-
you were saying,
Galician champions.
Yes.
So, thankfully, we're gone. We're done with bounty hunters.
yes, the land of bounty hunters is ending.
So we can play this game again. That's now again, like I said, I think I have a simultaneous opinion of yes, it's logical that the next place we're going is with on foot heroes,
Hmm.
but at the same time I go, and what's the point?
Yeah, there are a lot of armies that I'm curious because it feels like they won't even be able to take advantage of this.
Yeah.
I am kind of curious how they're going to define a Galatian champion because do Sons of Behemoth even have one?
No, they
Okay.
announced I think they went over it somewhere. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, I think they
It's
somewhere.
yeah, right up here. The new
Yeah,
keyword
wounds character.
applies to all unmounted heroes with a wound characteristic of less than 10, and they have to be non-unique.
Right.
So
Yeah, that unmounted part hurts for my Deepkin.
yeah, like I said, it's like they keep finding these like super niche things.
All right.
And again, like I'm still not sure how I feel about the compulsion aspect of everything. Where
Mhm.
okay, my Lord Castellan is a Galician champion. Do I want him to be a champion? I don't know, but do I have a choice? No.
Right.
I wouldn't mind if they would give me a battalion where I could make it so something that normally would count as a thing doesn't.
Right. No, I hear you. That'd be nice.
If there was like, say, like last one, I'll tell you that might be what I would have been able to take in order to get me pulled back in. If you had derelict of duty, all units in this do not count as Galician veterans.
Right. Just so you don't get run over by the bounty hunters. Yeah.
So cool, sure,
Yeah.
sure.
It'll be
Um,
interesting because I'm sure it'll be a lot of your hero has to kill things, and not everyone has a killy hero, so
Yeah.
it'll be interesting.
Again, I think it's gonna still continue to be that trend of whenever I bring my sons to a tournament, all that means is if you fight me, you're not going to get in first.
Just sorry, guys, you lost out on it because you got me.
Right, because you know it's going to be like have your Galician champion kill another Galician champion. Or have your Galician champion finish off a hero with
or
the
a
least amount
monster
of
or
wounds.
something.
And
Yeah.
like, cool, good luck. He has 32 wounds left. Like,
Right. Yeah.
um, again, I am not dissatisfied with this. It makes me excited to be able to play again. I feel like the foot has been taken off of my throat.
Right.
I'm trying to think of some interesting combinations because, well, here, I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's go over here what
No,
they
you're
showed
good.
us. The
Yeah.
key to victory: friendly Galician champions cannot be picked as the target of attacks made with missile weapons while they're within 1 inch of any friendly battle line unit. Honestly, like again, with a lot of the extra stuff we saw from the last General's Handbook, these are things that I feel like should almost be rules
On their own.
on
Yeah.
their own. Like, because I don't know what edition did you start playing 40K?
Fifth edition.
Me too. And so at that point, like, it was just okay. Your hero joins this unit,
Right.
and it made and like no one complained about it.
Yep. Yep.
Um, I wouldn't mind. Again, we'll probably talk about this a little bit later, but like I wouldn't mind if we went back to a place where if it's not on a mount and it has under certain amount of hit points, or even if like base size is within 1 or 2 moves of the other unit,
Right.
then it joins it, and you know, so that way you have foot hero survival rate go up a little bit, and then on the other side you basically just start giving out more pick your target, like pick your
Right.
model that you're doing damage to, and so then that way if every army has like 1 or 2 of those, your joining units is not the end all be all. I don't know. I think it's a good choice. I like it, especially considering like a lot of this makes me not rethink, but look again at my Stormcast list.
No, I know exactly what you mean. You're stopping for a second, looking at it, going, okay, what would need to change? What's different about this list now all of a sudden?
Right. And then let's see your desperate action. Uh, if you are taking the second turn in your current battle round, at the start of your hero phase, you can pick one friendly Galician champion on the battlefield to carry out 2 different heroic actions in that phase instead of one. This is
little
cool
buff.
because there's a lot of times where I kind of want that. I kind of want that command point, but I hardly ever get it. So if I have some options, like strike at the opening and lead by example,
Right.
this is pretty cool whenever it comes to, again, my Stormcast.
Yeah.
All heroes are actually not terrible at combat.
No, they could get another wound or two, or maybe if there's 1 or 2 models holding up a unit of yours, you can kill them off and allow them to move later in the movement phase.
Yeah. So, So I mean, and then again, trying to get as many combats as I can in with like my Vindictors or something.
Right.
That's important, man. That's pretty cool. I think it's cool that you have the sworn bodyguard. I like the thing for it, the detachment. That's not the right word. Battalion. There you go.
There we are.
I know on the Strength Hammer podcast they were talking about. They talk about the ability to shoot or something like that. Where was it?
The ability to shoot something.
I'm sorry, guys. The
Oh, jeez.
let's see. So what is a sworn bodyguard? They're part of one of the Galician Command, one of 3 new core battalions this season. This battalion pairs a Galician champion with a single unit of infantry, such as Arch Revenants, and a loyal band of Tree Revenants. This team up not only unlocks the lead by example heroic action, it provides them with the united in purpose ability, which allows your champion and their bodyguard to fight in an unbroken chain in the combat phase if they're wholly within 6 inches of each other, keeping your foes from fighting free.
Yeah, it looks like it's if the champion fights, then you can just have the unit that's with him.
Yeah.
The
Well, there was something in there about being able to get around the not being able to shoot the Galician champion, and I guarantee you, all it is it's just going to be a battalion that lets you take 1 to 3 ranged units, and they are able to shoot the champion like normal.
right.
That's fine.
Yep.
Overall, like I said, I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know what I'm going to play in it, honestly. What's funny is, like, I keep playing Suns. I just keep going back to them. I keep playing them, and like, I feel like I do okay with them, but I feel like I'm missing out on all the fun.
No, I hear what you mean. You don't get to play with all these different abilities and everything.
There's no abilities. There's no nothing. That's blah blah blah. It's just here is your toast. That's
maybe it's just time to dust those Stormcast back off. Paint yourself a few new heroes.
I agree.
Get in there.
I agree. We'll see. All right, let's get some palate cleanser going on here.
There we are.
Romer Engine, November 1st.
Let's see.
Let me know when you got it.
There we are. There we are. Oh, this smokestack looking deal here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is upside down. It's like a staff of some sort.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a Necromunda thing.
Yep. I don't think that you're wrong.
All right. November 8th.
November 8th. Some sort of backpack. Looks like we're carrying some grenades and such.
So this is...
oh, no, this is...
This is ridiculousness, okay? This is Votann.
I don't know what this is now. Because now I've stopped and I'm looking at it more.
So, this piece already exists.
Okay.
On the bikers. Each one of them down the one side has their shotgun in a case like that along the front with shotgun shells in the front.
Huh. Very odd then that this is here now.
Right. I mean, this is going to come up a couple times. I can't believe it that there's going to be a second wave of Votann. I don't know when. I don't know why. Why we're getting a second wave?
Here's another idea.
Go ahead.
Could this be a kill team?
Yes.
Unit of Votann.
That's true as well. But we'll see going forward. No.
Yeah.
All right. So Rumor Engine for the 15th.
Yeah. So some sort of lock. We've locked up some sort of machinery here.
Yeah, and it's clear with that bolt. It's clearly 40k.
Yep.
I feel like this is going to be kill team terrain.
That's possible. Yeah.
I think that's what it's going to be. So
yeah, I don't know what it could be otherwise. This is some sort of objective that you got to crack open or something.
Yeah. All right, so let's see here. 22nd. I think it's some sort of chaos thing. I think. What do you?
Yeah, it might be chaos. It's odd because it looks like it's supposed to be Chaos Undivided as well.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised. Because it's crude. It's very crude. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is going to be some sort of Warcry thing, like say from from the last box that they come out with.
Okay. Because my other idea was, what if Chaos Dwarves are just very crude at making everything now?
That would be a travesty.
I know.
And they don't worship the Chaos Gods Undivided. They only worship Hashut.
Well, darn it. Why are you going and just ruining my whole idea here?
All right. So, Rumor Engine from the 29th.
Some sort of rocket booster of some sort. And I see why you say there's going to be more Votann out.
So this little the plating on top of the plates, that's apparent. That's already on the Terminator guys, and it's with their vehicles. It's with everything. So we have this is another Votan thing.
So some sort of jump pack infantry
Yeah,
for
I
them or
assume this is
something.
going to be a jump pack unit. Moving along, was this one revealed from the 6th of December?
I don't think it was.
Okay.
I mean, it
Well,
looks like something for Corn almost.
uh, either way,
Uh, it's 40K.
it's a 40K thing.
Yep. Yep.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Does Chaos use skulls with lenses?
I mean, I feel like everyone has a lens at some point gets attached to them.
That's
However,
true. That's true.
Chaos themselves might just be using the skull of a fallen enemy in this case as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like I said, I mean, there's I guess some sort of tech savage chaos thing coming out here in the next.
Yeah, interesting.
I kind of feel like it's probably going to be a sorcerer.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we could do with a Chaos Tech Priest here, something like that.
Maybe this will be the one of the third year Warhammer Plus model choices.
There we go. Jeez.
All right, moving on to the 13th. This
Yeah.
already exists.
Oh? You mean other than just behind me? Okay.
So for the 13th, you can find this axe in the Sagittor box.
Oh. Really?
Actually, hold on. Whenever we come back to camera, I'll show you here.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then
you get it out while we go over the next rumor.
So let's move on to the 20th.
Yeah. So some sort of last weaponry of some sort.
This is the gun. This is 2 of the 3 barrels for a gun you can put on the Sagittor.
Really?
Yes. Here, hold on. We're bringing it
Okay.
back.
Why do you keep doing this to us? Why
Bringing it
why
back.
are we going to be?
All right, hold on, guys.
No. Don't
So
hit
here
us
we
with
got.
that.
This is the last kit I have for my army.
Yeah.
So we're gonna open this now. Here. Oops.
Nope. Doing it live here as
Yep.
we crack this box open to be extremely disappointed as we find out that axe is in this box,
And
as well as this gun apparently.
so
I mean,
just so you guys are
jeez.
aware, this is the second Sagittar. So I'm not just going in blind hoping.
hoping that you find it in there. Yes.
This is experience. So
Okay. I guess we will have to
Alright.
believe you at this point.
well, you don't have to. I'm bringing the proof out Columbo style.
Well, I
okay?
mean, you're going to make us wait 5 minutes
See,
till you open that. So,
look. That wasn't that long.
nah, I just got to
Alright.
mess with you.
So thankfully, the
Yeah.
Sagittar is only on 3 sprues. So
Okay, good. So you shouldn't have to look around for too long.
no.
Also, though, if this is true, it is very sad that they are going to hit everyone like they did the Lumineth.
Okay, so let's take a look. Where is the axe? There's the hammer. There's the gun.
Okay.
I don't see the axe. Hold
Oh,
on.
jeez.
Hold on.
Now you got to find the axe. Now the pressure is on, sir.
No, it's fine. Worst case scenario, the axe isn't here, but
Yeah.
okay, there we go. All right, so let's switch over to the axe. Transition over.
Hmm. Oh boy.
Transitioning back.
Maybe it'll focus. Oh boy, it is the same damn thing. Oh, G-dubs, what are you doing? What are you doing, guys?
And then
Don't do that.
let me bring up the
Hmm.
barrel.
Yep.
Switch over to barrel.
Oh shoot.
Come on.
It'll focus in here someday. Wow. I mean, that one's not 100% the same.
What do you mean
but
it's not 100%?
Let me look.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. It's not 100% because the vents are on the wrong
Vents are
way.
on the opposite
The
side.
vents are on the other way.
Yeah. Yeah. Slightly different.
Other than being identical.
Other than being exactly the same. They're not exactly the same. It's okay.
So we're getting another Votan thing, which I'm not going to complain too much
you're
about.
Not too upset over,
but maybe you
really
could give me the second wave of the fucking Caradron Overlords first.
What?
Let me play
There's no
dwarves.
Second wave to KO now. It's over.
Let me play dwarves in my fantasy game.
What? No, sir. You're in the wrong place. The wrong place.
Maybe this is all just Grugny stuff.
Yeah.
It's all Grugny arms. All right. Well, so never happening. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. I would like to do a little bit of 2023 predictions, but I'm going to give you one.
Sure.
I'm going to give you one now for free.
Oh boy.
The KO Battle Tome is going to be disappointing as fuck, and we're not getting shit.
Jeez. Tell us how you really feel,
all right,
buddy. Tell us how you
let's
really
talk
feel.
about last weekend.
Sure, let's do that.
The Teyrathi Classic. For those not in the know, every year Chuck gathers a handful of people, and we just have a weekend of where we just do whatever crazy thing comes to Chuck's mind.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty apt.
This year was Warhammer Fantasy, since you are the only one that can stomach the current GHB.
Yep. The rest of you just need to get on my level, but instead I go on yours.
Get on your level. Who went 3-2 at LVO?
Oof.
Ooh.
Oh, that was under which GHB again? Okay.
The good one. That was...
There we go.
But no, so this year was Warhammer Fantasy.
Yep.
Cole, you had a little bit of a fun ride.
Yeah, that I did.
Pre-event whirlwind.
Yes.
I knew from scratch I was going to try and hopefully do a thing where I could try and not have to worry about converting things, buy models for Cities of Sigmar and not worry about converting the bases. I started early. So I started late September, early October, and I immediately knew this was not going to work. So I put everything on squares. Cole was insistent that he was going to be able to figure out a way to have his Khorne demons, his bloodletters that are on 32
circles.
millimeters,
yes,
get on the 20 millimeter square. And that was going to be somehow that there was going to be a way to get them to line up. There was going to
be a way you could stack them. And yet, look, I just didn't want to have to rebase that many bloodletters to know that there's going to be a Khorne book coming eventually, and I would just be rebasing them back.
See, what you should have done is you should have just bought more bloodletters.
No, I already own 90.
You know what would have been cool is if you would have done a Mortals army and then just convert them over later.
No, sir.
But anyway, so I did old school dwarfs.
Yeah.
I literally spent every waking moment where I wasn't working or sleeping painting dwarves.
Which they look beautiful by the end.
Thank you. I was going to try and get them done a little bit more, so for the folks at home here, for whenever I used hammers and iron drakes, basically if there was a GW model, I used the GW model. If there wasn't, I got an STL. And so for the iron drakes and hammers, I saved them for last because I knew that was going to be the most detail, and I needed to get as much done as I could. But then I got COVID, so that took 2 weeks out of my ability to paint.
Right.
So all of like the filigree and the shoulder pads and on the armor and all that other stuff, I basically just didn't touch. Everything else was painted, so like they have like scale mail
Right.
or the chain mail under the plate. I was able to paint those different. Hold on, everything else still got done. The
Yeah.
warriors and quarrelers were all completely done. The heroes all completely done, and uh, up until the first day, I was a force to be reckoned with.
Right. Right.
Um, Cole, however, so you went from going to be corn to
Yeah.
then going, this isn't going to work. I need to use one of your armies.
Mm-hmm.
So, what army were you originally going to use?
I was thinking I should probably, if I want to like win games and stuff in Warhammer Fantasy Battles, run the Wood Elves.
You know,
And then I went, yeah, but I need to let Neil win a game at some point, right? As it turns out, he's very good at this Warhammer Fantasy Battles game. And I am not at all, especially having my first games be there. So I decided to take Goblins. Um,
you know.
Balance wasn't much of a thing, as it turns out, in Warhammer Fantasy Battles 8th Edition,
Yeah, yeah,
because I could throw what I felt like was my strongest, hardest hitting setup into something, and then I would lose that combat, run away, die, and my game would be over.
yeah. See, here's one of the advantages that we have over you.
Is your age you've played this game before? Yeah.
So not necessarily that. So like older games all had the same feel,
Right.
and so there was a lot of tactics that don't make sense now that you just wouldn't do in Age of Sigmar. That was
Right.
like, oh well, yeah, you just do that thing back then. Like,
Okay.
so like, say for your goblins, typically what you would have done is you would have had like, so like chaff is really important.
Right.
So like you would have literally like put, say, a block of 5, maybe 10 goblins by
Hmm.
themselves, and they would
Just in
be
front of the unit.
right.
Yeah.
And so your goal would basically be to charge them in the front so they get wiped out, but then that makes it so your opponent can't move. So then you take your giant block and then charge them on the side.
Yeah, no, by the end of the event, I understood.
Yeah.
However, I also understood that goblins were very bad whenever I finally get this beautiful broadside charge into some Bretonians where he can legitimately only fight me back with 3 horses against a block of 60 goblins.
Yeah.
And somehow I still lose that combat, run away, and he runs me down and murders 60 goblins.
Yeah. You should have
So,
had I forget what the unit champ or there was a hero
yeah,
that you should have had that basically prevents things from running away and stuff.
that's okay.
But
I had what I had.
yeah.
So surprise, Neil did get that win for round one. So did everyone else who played me, as I lost everything, and that's the brick of shame sitting right there
Oh, Brick of
because of it.
Shame. Well,
Yeah,
that's funny because I got something similar, but let me see. What is that? Is this it here? I think it. Yeah, this is. Yeah, we got that. I got that hanging there. So,
yeah,
uh,
yeah. The thing that used to sit back here.
yeah,
Yeah,
we got that.
uh huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Let's
it's
just.
gonna hurt. Uh huh. To
So,
to be fair, whenever I got that belt, I won all my games. In your
yeah.
face, Matt.
So as far as that goes, I did not win all of my games because, as Cole stated, they did not worry too much about balance in the fantasy era.
Yes.
But basically, I scored the highest overall. So like
Okay.
I did in the games that I played, I got the highest that you could get in each one of my games, and then on top of that, I did highest in sports. So I also got the sports award, and then I also did best like
Pretty
painting.
good painting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason why I didn't win the coolest cane award, because I already won 2 things.
Oh.
But then also Neil decided to cheat and just printed. Not even print. He had someone else print him a bunch of terrain that someone else made.
Yeah, that's true. True statement.
I was there on a call with him that night that he painted them up in an hour and a half. So
yeah.
had I not got COVID, I could have made a 3-foot dwarf den made of STL files that I found online as well.
Next year.
But no, that was so like my first 2 games was I also fought against Mark with his Bretonnians, and the only reason I won was because that game went exactly how that game went.
Whenever I walked down and just saw the entire Bretonnian army essentially turned around and running from failed panic tests, I was like, "What?"
So first and foremost, there was a giant river running through the middle of the board. So I pretty sure we're playing it right. Again, we are talking about a rule set that is 20 years old at this point, so we might not have been. But essentially, we originally thought it was dangerous terrain or deadly terrain or whatever it is, but then we're like, no, there's actual specific rules for rivers that like you can't march through them.
Okay.
So he basically had to run everything up to the
riverbank.
The river, walk across the river, and the next turn continue down. And with the amount of damage those things were going to do, I knew if they touched me,
that was it.
And so like he got to the rivers, he got past the river, and he got into charge range, and I'm like, okay, I have one chance. And so one of the other rules is anytime cavalry is hit with a flaming attack, they have to make a panic test or run away. And so I had 3 sources of flaming attacks, and he had 3 units of cavalry coming at me. So I just needed 1 damage at each to try and get them to panic.
Right.
So the first one is successful with his BSB and rolls an 11. It's his BSB, so he gets to roll it again.
Right.
Rolls a 12.
Oof.
So now that shuts off his BSB.
Right.
Again, BSB is your battle standard bearer. Anyone within 12 inches of the battle standard bearer gets to re-roll their leadership test for any reasons. However, whenever the battle standard bearer is fleeing, they go, that's not very inspiring.
As it turns out.
Yeah. So that first unit flees. Second unit, I don't get the wound off. So it doesn't have to flee. Then the third and last unit, the one that I was most scared of, which I think was the Grail Knights or whatever the big knight.
Questing Knights, something like that, yeah.
I got 1 wound off on them.
Mm-hmm.
Failed it. So they ran. And then, of course, they ran into his archers, which then the archers ran. But so then I had all of my quarrelers shoot at the other unit that didn't flee.
Mm-hmm.
And that got enough models gone that he had to make a test.
Nice.
But I think he passed that. Which
actually you just shot a lot of guys down.
Which was actually beneficial because that was the furthest unit away, so he wasn't able to charge next turn. So so whenever his turn comes around, everything continues to flee, except for the 1 unit that he gets over to try and get into a flank charge.
Right.
In which case, I just go,
Right. The entire army shoots that now. Yeah.
He eventually rallied the Grail Knights, in which case I was able to have my hammers come around and side flank charge him.
Oh, wow.
And then I also had my warriors right behind them in case they lost to then just keep holding the unit up.
Just keep them stuck there.
The catapult that he had, or the trebuchet, first turn that he tried to shoot it, misfired
Misfire.
twice and destroyed itself.
Wow.
Also, the first turn, whenever he tried to cast something of the vines,
Okay.
I used my level 2 Dispel scroll, or rune of spell breaking, where I get to roll a die, and on a 4-up, the
You just
wizard
say
forgets
no.
the spell
Oh no.
for the rest of the game.
Oh.
So he tries to cast that first. I go, rune of spell breaking level 2, and he's like, what? I roll a die. 6. He doesn't know that spell anymore, and the spell doesn't go off. He's like,
Wow.
get out of my barn. But again, like,
Understandably.
what's funny is, if anything didn't go exactly the way it would have went, including us playing on that board, he would have
Right.
He would have won hands down.
Yeah, you're probably right. If there wasn't a river in the middle to protect you.
Oh no, because that gave me an extra turn of shooting.
Right.
And then like with my game with Alex, was my round 2 where he brought his high elves, very
Right.
heavily focused on sword masters, which are normally incredibly resilient to shooting.
Mm-hmm.
However, dwarf shooting is incredibly good. So like with all of my Quarlers, each unit of Quarlers had a runesmith with them, so that
Right.
meant all of their shots were -2 rend,
Mm-hmm.
or rend 2. And so like, so now that puts all the sword masters, because again, originally the sword master is supposed to have like a 5-up, and I forget what the ward is.
Okay.
And so I chewed through his regular armor save, so the entire army was basically just on the ward save.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty big.
And he's like, well, not much I can do about that. So
Right.
once I realized, or once I remembered that while swordmasters are good against shooting, they are not good against my shooting, then the army just started going away real fast.
There you go.
Since I've played, what's funny is like, normally high elves and versus dwarves, the high elves take it. But since I learned how to play fantasy fighting Chuck's high elves,
Ah,
I know how to beat high elves very easily.
there you go.
Because again, so like I played Neil using the list that you played against.
Right.
Without a quarter of my army being on the board, I tabled him in 3 rounds.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And then my last 2 games, game number 3, I just fucked up. I
You'll
played
have
against.
that.
I played
You'll have
against the first ogre list where it had an ogre Death Star, and I just deployed too close to him. I don't know what was going on. I don't know why I would do that. I honestly like.
Right.
And so he basically, on his turn, charged into hammers, wiped the hammers out, kept going, tapped into my Iron Drakes.
Mm-hmm.
And so then his next turn he was going to wipe out the Iron Drakes, and so that left me with 2 units of Quarlers, which do nothing.
Weren't gonna do a whole lot. Yeah.
And so like he basically beat the hammers, tapped in, and I said good game.
Yeah.
And I felt bad because he thought I was mad at him, but I
Right.
mad at him at all. Like I'm like,
One of those things that after you saw it happen, you went, "Dumbass, what I
right?
do?"
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm mad at myself for being a dumb idiot. That's
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the sore loser in me wants to go, why would you bring that army to a novice
Nah, I hear you.
Death Star? But again, it's a 100% legitimate list, and that's how you have to play ogres in order to win with them.
Right. Yeah. If you don't try and build a Death Star with them, they're just going to get chewed up piece by piece
That's
and
how
die.
you have
Yeah.
to play it. So yeah, you can't do anything about that.
Right.
And then my last game was against our buddy Brad.
Yep.
Which I'm really glad that he decided to take the time and we actually read through the rules, because for the last one we did Watchtower, which is a little bit more of an
Right.
involved.
Yeah, it is.
Where
It
essentially
is.
there's a Watchtower in the dead center of the board, which was also hilarious because on our board it was offset by an inch,
Oh, jeez.
and Brad was livid because he missed a charge by an inch.
Oh no. Oh no.
But yeah, so it was really cool. We were the only ones I think to really sit down and read through all the rules.
Probably.
Because whenever you actually know all the rules, it's actually very balanced.
Okay.
Um, so it's like only one unit can engage the watchtower at a time,
Hmm.
and basically that unit is supposedly just surrounding it.
Right.
So now we know it's not
Everyone's fighting everyone.
right.
Yeah.
And so then only 10 units or only 10 models can be selected to fight.
Okay.
Or an ogre counts as 3 models for that.
Oh, wow.
So it was essentially every time he fought me, it was 3 versus 10,
Hmm.
which I desperately needed.
So it was like the baseline units fighting each other.
Right.
Yeah.
And so essentially, what he was getting his impact hits, but
Okay.
I was also getting dwarves has a special rule that whenever they are charged, they receive +1 to their parry save.
Oh, okay.
So now every turn, because basically what happens is you charge in, you do the combat.
Hmm.
The people in the watchtower are steadfast, so they lose all their bonuses. So they lose their rank bonus, they lose any other sort of thing that they get to add to it.
Okay.
But they're steadfast, so no matter what, as long as they lose, they just roll off of their leadership.
Base leadership.
Which
Yeah.
dwarves have an insane leadership.
Okay.
And so like if you don't push them out of the watchtower, you the attacker has to back up an inch.
Oh.
So every turn he was charging in, giving me my 5-up ward.
Wow. Yeah, that's rough. That's really rough.
Yeah. And then but the problem was is he took out my organ gun.
Hmm.
And so like he was charging in with trolls,
Yes.
and you basically need fire to be hitting the trolls, and my organ gun was fire, and then my iron drakes were fire. And
Okay.
he got his like I didn't realize how strong that because he had like a chaos sorcerer or something on a mount,
Yeah.
and I was just like, okay, it's chaos sorcerer, whoopity doo. But
Right.
no, it was a nightmare.
Oh, yeah. It just started ripping through things.
I mean, I had to put so much into it in order to get it to go down.
Wow.
But he was able to take out. He was basically that model alone was almost able to take out my entire left flank.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
And then he had one block of ogres on the other side. Because I say he was doing the tower with trolls, right?
Right. Tower with trolls, ogres on the other flank.
And so
Yep.
the ogres on the other flank, and that basically just tore my entire right flank apart.
Okay.
So like,
Jeez.
he just was ripping me shred to shred.
Everyone except for the folks in the tower.
Right. And it's so like eventually whenever you get to turn 4, you start rolling off to see if the game ends, and whoever
Right.
is either in the watchtower or closest to the watchtower wins.
Yeah.
And just the die would not end the game.
Right. It wouldn't give you the sweet release of yes, we're in there, we're okay.
And like this is the one where I found out that for the dwarf cannon, which I hate with an unbridled passion,
As I have learned hearing you lament its existence after every single
everyone
game.
loves the dwarf cannon. Take 100 of them. Take all the dwarf cannons you can. Just buy them up. Buy them up. Buy them all. No. Garbage. The entire event, I would say I probably took out 5 models
Wow.
across all my games with this dumb thing.
Jeez.
And so, like, I'm trying to fight Brad with it, and then we've discovered a new role that if the cannonball doesn't kill the model that it hits, it just stops.
Oh. So it just hits the ogre in the gut and it stops where it is,
Right,
huh?
because it does D6 wounds,
Yeah.
and so I have to roll a 3 up. And we're like, that's not going to happen. That's
Right. Yeah.
so like we roll it, so we go through, and I'm like, okay, 1 wound, and then 3 wounds, 3 wounds. And so we're like, yay, I killed 2 models and I put a wound on the unit. And then
Right.
we were like, oh, let's see how. So then, like, I shot again the next turn, and I
Right.
didn't shoot the same model. So he's like, oh, I guess I have multiple wounds. I was like, that doesn't sound right. Let's read the rules. And that's when we read that, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
So then I shot the same. So we put those guys back. We just put a wound, and then I shot again, one wound,
Right.
and then we
Oh,
killed the
that's
tank.
rough.
I'm like, useless.
Oh, that's rough, buddy.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, I mean, and then like I come back and I was trying to do a little bit of research on dwarfs and everything on how they played in eighth, and like apparently like the I kind of went with a gun line, and the gun line is fool's gold.
Okay.
It seems strong, but it has a hard limit. Like you can't go past
Okay.
a certain point. And so like then that boils down to the fact that it's really funny. Like this again goes back into like kind of the poor balance of things. Like
Right.
so dwarves are supposed to be shooty and defensive.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever they're defensive, they're not strong enough to
To actually hold off for a round or two.
right. They're not strong enough to actually win combats. And then the shooting is, while very strong, isn't strong enough to win you a game. So the only way you have to do is go with the ability, because the army has mass access to two-handed weapons.
Okay.
So what you do is you just go with your cheap ass shit
And you give everybody a great weapon.
and you go hordes.
Okay.
I'm like,
Say, here's 1,000,000 strength 5 attacks.
right. Well, so here's the thing: is their base strength is 4,
Oh, so
so
strength
their
6
strength
attacks.
5,
Oh.
or strength
Okay.
6. And
Yeah.
whereas if dwarfs are charged, they get +1 to their ward save. If they
Mhm.
charge, they get +1 strength on the turn they charged.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So now you have en masse strength 7,
7.
or strength
Ew.
8 if you're looking at the hammerers.
No, thank you.
So you basically
No,
get you take your lord and your thane and you put it in a giant block of hammerers.
Right.
Now there's a dick move that you could do where you take your rune, or you take your lord, put him on the shield bearers, so he's 3 wide, and then you take
Okay.
a giant block of iron breakers and you just make it 3 wide, and you have that go back,
Jeez.
and then
So
you
you
just
can
protect
only
his
hit
flanks.
him.
Yeah, so then you just get
Wow.
like 2 5-man units of warriors to just protect the flanks, and then you just
Yeah.
move him forward, and you have to do like,
It's ridiculous.
oh my god, this game's stupid. This game's so yeah, so like, but yeah, I was very happy that we went. I was very happy that we played.
Yeah.
Again, for our purposes, the list I have is great.
Right. Yeah. For just
Um,
hanging out, having a good time.
Yeah. But that does bring us back to our conversation of Old World.
Yeah.
So, first and foremost, let me ask: Old World, 2023 or 2024 or beyond?
Old World 2025, maybe?
Wow. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
I will state, just to dissuade you any,
Yeah.
2023 is the 40-year anniversary of Warhammer Fantasy.
That is nice. However, if the Old World was actually going to come out sooner, I think they would have said something to us by now.
I mean, they
Personally.
could be waiting for Warhammer Fest.
They could be, but even still, I feel like you hype that up from the beginning just because you need that launch, because people need new armies, right, for that game. So, for the vast majority of folks. So, you want them to already have it in their mind that they're going to be buying it and have everyone already saving to buy into a new
You're
game.
giving GW a lot of credit.
No, I think their sales team is very
I-
good at making us all hype up and
I
buy
disagree
things that we don't
completely.
need. I think that they're terrible at writing the rules to make us all want to do it.
I mean, like, I would say recently they've started doing a little bit of hype with, like,
Mhm.
let's say, I think they overdid it with Votan. I think they're doing
Maybe.
it an okay amount with um, World Eaters,
Yeah.
assuming the book comes out in the next month or so.
Right.
Um, but really, there hasn't been too much of hyping of things prior to it releasing.
That's true, but I don't think so. Votan, I think, was correct because brand new model line. You
Yeah.
need all new things. Corn, you give it some, probably not as much because people already own the armies. You're just trying to sell them on the new models at this point. I feel like you have to go just as much into the pre entrance hype as you did with Votan, if not more, because, well, we need people to buy full armies again.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if there is actual information
Hmm.
at Warhammer Fest this year.
No, I think, because what? Right now, all we have seen from them is
Maps.
some maps
You know,
and I think some concept art
oh, we got
of some
a
point.
bitch in Tomb King's chariot art piece.
Right. And I think we had some oh, now I can't even remember what the human group is with the ice and all that.
Kislev.
Kislev. I think we got some Kislev art way at the beginning.
Yeah.
So
Well, we
if we
got both
got,
Kislev and the Asian inspired.
yes. So I think if they wanted to start doing some hype on that, they should start showing us renderings like they did with our upcoming uh, cities stuff
Yeah.
in Age of Sigmar. That's where they should probably be next.
Well, I'd be fine if they didn't do that because
No, I
I'm
think I
still
agree with you, but just looking at GW's model right now, it looks
I
like that's what they would be doing.
I'm still so apprehensive how they're going to do it because like
No, yeah.
they are so they've said in that FAQ that they released like a year and a half ago. They
Hmm.
did state like, hey, you are going to be able to use your old models. However, you may want to pick up new models because they're going to have new weapon options.
Right.
So that means that they are kind of committing to a huge release.
Right.
Um, I mean, you got. I mean, they've already announced Kislev
Hmm.
and the Asian inspired. I apologize, everybody at home. I don't know their names, but like
Yeah.
they've talked
And Tomb
about.
King. Yeah.
Um, they showed Tomb Kings, which has been completely discontinued. They even talked
Right.
about on that map. They showed all of the like the lost princes or the
Yeah.
dukes or whatever the heck it was,
Yeah,
all
I'd
the
have to put,
non-empire armies.
yeah.
Um, and we know we've talked about elves.
Yep. I mean, you have to.
Right.
How's it the old world without some high elves in there?
um, so it's like I don't know. Like, are you going to release 3 armies at the beginning?
Doesn't sound right. Doesn't sound like quite the game people want to play.
Right. Like, I don't understand what you're like. Uh,
You almost need to hit like 6 to 8 armies at the start.
I'll tell you. Like, I mean, in all honesty, the way that I can see it, like, the way I can see them doing it. Well, no, the way I could see it being done,
Mhm.
but the way GW would never do it. You sell STL files.
Whew. That is a huge leap in GW's thought process.
Again, never.
Never going to happen.
But it is the only logistical way I could imagine them going. Here's 20 armies.
Right. Which I don't expect 20 armies. I think 5 to 6 is probably what we'll see at best.
Right.
More
But,
than
I mean,
likely, I think it's 4.
the problem is there's too many. Looks like I'm getting a little far from my mic. The problem is there's too many essentials in fantasy.
Right.
So we know Kislev, Asian
Mhm.
inspired, Empire, High Elves, Orcs and Goblins, Tomb Kings, and there
Yeah.
has to be a dwarf.
Yeah.
So that's 7 starting off.
So
And
I'm going
then,
to assume that they won't have every army ready on launch.
right.
So we do Kislev because I think they really wanted us to get excited about there being
Yeah.
Kislev. That was the first thing they ever showed us. I think we get Tomb Kings just because that is a classic army that they would start from scratch on. Well, now we need our Chaos equivalent in this. So whatever that will be,
Probably
and
Khorne
don't think
because that'll match what's going on with Total Warhammer.
okay, but I don't think okay. If we want to pretend like Total War Warhammer is something to go off of, which maybe it is.
Well, so again, so what are the main draw armies for Total Warhammer?
Right.
Kislev,
Kislev.
Khorne, Asian inspired.
Yeah. So then what's the other one that we would need to get? We need to get something from Destruction. I think you just do Orcs and Goblins
Probably.
myself, because if you do anything else, I think you're kind of messed up. And I think you just start with maybe 4. Maybe you get a 5th or 6th because you do a second order army and something else.
Well, I'll tell you right now, like, my big concern is that, and all the rumors are stating that this is going to be a Forge World game.
Right. No, I agree.
And I think if this is going to be a Forge World game, I think it might as well be dead in the water.
Yes, if we start off the bat by charging Forge World prices for a game, it will not matter how much money or time GW is sank into this game.
Right. Because again, if I'm going to go and look and go, oh look, here's 10 Iron Drakes, $80.
Done. Yep.
Just Old Yeller's frothing at the mouth. Time to go behind the barn. Like it's
Right. Right. Yeah.
Or at that point, you're going to look at, okay, well, again, here's a game that you abandoned.
Yep.
And the people that make 3D models have gone to town.
And taking the time to fill that. Yeah.
So what's going to happen is you're going to release a rule book that everyone's going to buy, and then you're going to have a bunch of models no one's going to buy.
I think at the end of the day, that will be what happens. And then GW will, in 2 to 3 years, just abandon the project altogether.
Ooh, what if this is their master plan to then, like, have more reason to go after 3D sculptors?
They will have one hell of a hard time doing that. I think the digital space is too difficult to fight all the digital sculptors out there and hunt down all of them.
They keep on painting themselves into corner after corner with all of this stuff, and I just like, are you guys thinking about your next step? Like, what's
right?
Just kind of swinging at the fields, like,
which is why I think it's so far out. I think if they get close to a release, somebody actually looks at it and goes, "What are you about to do?"
Yeah,
because what you're about to do is waste a lot of money that we're never going to get back.
And that's going to be another
thing.
Go
back and think about it.
I also think, like, even if you have people that are willing to go beyond the price of Forge World, I think you're going to. So let's say we have our pie chart of 100% of the people who are interested in playing Old World.
The Old World. Yep.
Now all of a sudden you go, but it's going to be at Forge World prices, so all of a sudden it goes, you lose this giant chunk.
A giant section you lose, yeah.
And so then the people that you have left, you go, okay, back up to 100%, even though we've lost however many percent. Now we go, oh, and by the way, everything's going to be Forge World resin. And then you're going to go,
yeah. Yeah, you're going to lose a lot of people because everyone who was excited about the Old World who played back then has also bought an old Finecast model.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is, like, so there is a difference between Finecast and Forge World resin.
There is, but Forge World resin, although it doesn't have all the bubbling issues,
I've had
where you
more
lose.
bubbling issues with.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so again, so the first run of. So okay, we'll go a little history lesson because a lot of people
Please.
don't know this stuff.
For all of us who don't know these things.
So originally, Forge World resin or Warhammer resin, the Finecast was supposed to replace Forge World resin
Okay.
because they started a new technology.
Right.
Um, so previously it was just force injection.
Hmm.
And so what they were working on was force injection along with centrifugal modeling.
Okay.
The issue was whenever the models that had to roll out for Finecast, they needed to be released prior to getting the centrifuge part of the casting ready.
Oh.
And that's why there was so much bubbling in all that initial
Right.
things. So after about, I think it was like 8 months, they got it actually working.
Okay.
And so now, if you look at Finecast, you won't see hardly any bubbling at this point,
Okay.
there's still going to be some because they don't have they abandoned it a little quickly
Right.
because people didn't like the first run so much and it just got a reputation and it just shot itself down.
Right.
Um, so there's still stuff in the old stocks,
Okay.
but the one issue that they didn't count on was their resin warps very easily.
Okay.
And so while the bubbling's gone, the sculpts actually look half decent, but you have to do a lot of resetting after heating it and cooling it.
Okay.
And that's the TLDR of Forge World.
Okay.
Finecast. Finecast.
Okay.
Forge World is still basically using like the 1980s process of Forge World
Nice.
of resin. And it's the heavy stuff, it's the old stuff. Like, ugh.
Right.
They're able to,
No.
they're actually able to get a decent amount of detail out of that. Like,
Hmm.
again, like I'll have to like show you the Dol Amroth Knights.
Okay.
They look so good, but those are new molds.
Understood.
So if you get anything that's not new from Forge World, it still looks the way it would have if you would have bought it 10, 15 years ago.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah.
so everything that they're making now, if they're going to go through the resin, will still look good, but it'll be expensive and it'll also be heavy.
Right.
Um,
To be quite honest, this would be if they are going to do it Forge World and they want to charge Forge World prices because they do. They need to do is just invest in updating their resin pouring technology. So many other companies know how to do it correctly,
Yeah.
do it well, and everyone's happy with those sculpts. Geez, I can't even. War Machine and Hordes, those models I believe are resin nowadays.
yep.
They look like solid models from everything I can see.
Yeah.
I've actually gotten a few from going to conventions like Adepticon. You end up with a starter box half the time
Yeah.
in your swag bag if you go or anything like that. I've put those models together. There is nothing wrong with them
Right.
whenever you go to
Right.
do that.
Well, that's one
Like,
thing I think is funny is you're absolutely right.
mhm,
Games Workshop, whether it's Forge World or GW,
right,
are the only resin models in the field that have problems.
right. No, you're right.
I
And so they just need to invest the time and money into correcting that.
Right. I mean, I honestly think we're at this where we are with this day and age.
Mhm,
Forge World needs to essentially be folded.
right,
There's no purpose in it anymore. If they want to label things as a Forge World studio project, meaning, hey, this is a side thing that we do that it's not going to get a lot of attention,
right,
um, just as like a expectations setter,
right,
fold it into the Games Workshop website. Get rid of their resin altogether. The plastic is cheaper and is better in every way, shape, and form.
yeah,
And we go on from there. Like but I don't know how they were ever going to release the amount that they need to release initially and
Mhm.
sustained.
Right, because you need that initial release, which will be a huge push, which I don't suspect GW can keep up with that number
Right.
right now. Not since the pandemic, they have not been able to keep up with volume like that.
No. Which again,
And
like actually, that
you need
reminds
to
me.
keep that type of volume up for like 2 to 3 months
I've
because
had
that's when
a,
everyone's buying in.
I think I've had a package that's been in the mail for like 10 days.
Oh, really? From
There's
them?
paint. There's paint in there. I hope it didn't freeze.
Jeez.
um, but yeah, like I mean, here's the thing: is like they're not going to release enough armies.
Right.
They're not going to release enough armies upon launch, and there's no way because again, here, sorry guys, but the Warhammer Fantasy community is probably the only aspect of the Warhammer community that bitches more than 40k people. Like that's
No, I hear you. I hear you. I mean, yeah, there's so many people of that who either you moved to Age of Sigmar and I have wonderful games with you.
yeah,
It's all fine. And you'll probably be fine whenever you move over. Where you stopped and kept playing 8th edition, and then you went to ninth, whatever ninth was.
ninth age, yeah,
Yes. And
or
then the Warhammer Armies Project,
yeah.
whatever that ended up being. Yeah, I don't know.
And again, like I said, I mean, I'm sure there's great people in the community,
I don't
but
doubt it. To
but
have that
my
big of a
god,
thing, to have a project of trying to keep that game
yeah.
going, there's definitely good individuals in that group.
But the online communities are
Yeah. Yes.
my god, like
Yeah.
it's like some sort of amalgamation of like mustard gas, napalm, and COVID all in the.
It is definitely a group of older gamers with an older gamer mindset.
But yeah, I mean, it's basically going to be like they're going to release an army,
Yep.
and instead of it being, oh, cool, we're glad to get that army, it's just going to be a resounding, why didn't you release my army? Why isn't it
Yes.
my army?
Yes.
My specific army with the models that
Right.
I specifically wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like I forget what it was. There was something. What was it? Something was released. Oh, I guess it was just Votan. Like with Votan, you had Votan came out,
Yep.
and you had the Longbeards bitching and moaning that they didn't look like squats.
Right.
And it's like, at no point in time should you have ever expected a resurgence of squats coming out to look like they did.
Right.
Um,
It's been 20 something years at this
right.
point.
Again, like, I'm sorry, but like, that style is no longer
In favor. Yeah.
it's no longer valid, and it's not. I don't even think you could properly adapt it to the current style.
Right.
And so, like, to have that expectation is just you're setting yourself up for failure. And I think it's going to be the same thing with Old World, where you go, well, where's my Bretonians? Why haven't Bretonians come out yet?
Right.
Okay, well, Bretonians might come out in 2025 if the game comes out in 2024, and then they're going to go, well, I'm not playing anything.
Right. Yeah. Too late. I mean, to be fair, it may very well be too late for some communities if you have to wait a year. Is the game may stir up, gets played for 3 months,
Yeah.
and then everyone puts their army away and goes back to playing Age of Sigmar or 40k.
Like I said, I still think the easier route, instead of, again, going back to this pot and stirring it again,
Right.
just doing what Conquest did and make movement trays with round slots and go,
Oh, no. Yeah.
use your Age of Sigmar guys because now this is your Armageddon
Right. Yep.
or your
Nope.
Apocalypse games.
Something like that. Yep.
But okay, so let's peel
Pull
back
back.
from the vitriol and the I don't know what the hell they're doing, and go with kind of where we hope the game goes, regardless of the mechanics here or the how we get there, the delivery.
Right.
system.
Right.
Because there's a lot of stuff I really like about fantasy.
Sure. Yeah, I enjoyed my time over the weekend. Even getting my butt handed to me, there were some cool interactions in
Right.
there that I didn't get anywhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just think that there's a lot of rigidity that needs to be peeled out.
Right.
Um, like it, like we had a thing where um, I had I want to say it was like 15 dwarf warriors left,
Hmm.
and I rolled poorly and they ran.
Yep.
And I want to say it was like a unit of two models overran them.
Just ran them down and killed everyone.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not going to happen. Like,
Right.
like that's so like, and again, like overrunning, like where you charge in, kill something that turn, and then keep charging.
And end up in another combat.
Right,
Yeah.
like that seems so like unnecessary.
Yeah.
I would like to see things kind of get crunched down a little bit.
Hmm.
Uh, things get a little bit simplified, but not. I, maybe simplified is not the right word.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, simplified might be the right word. That game has a lot of crunch in it.
yes. Well, again, I think that's part of the draw. So I think you have to keep the
Right.
crunch. You have to keep it a crunchy game, but I
Hmm.
think you need to have everything work smoother together.
Okay.
Again, I
A
apologize.
little bit more intelligent game design that the last 10 years have given
Yes,
us.
and,
Yeah.
and what's funny is Chuck's going to kill me, but I think it's going to turn out a lot more like Conquest because
Okay.
Conquest basically looked at fantasy and went, "How do we fix it?"
Yeah.
So like whenever you do, instead of doing your braking test and running,
Hmm.
you still do your brake test, but then you basically roll for every wound you did,
Yeah.
and if you roll a certain number, essentially the unit takes more wounds, and then essentially that is like, okay, two guys started running away, three guys started
Okay.
running away,
Right.
um, or like multiple wounds, like this guy's starting to think about running away, like,
Okay.
and
No,
so
I
that
understand
way
what you're saying.
it's not this shit because I rolled a 12, I lose 500-point block of dudes.
Right. It feels a little bit more Age of Sigmar-ish in that way
Yeah,
as well. It does seem like your lines become a little bit more static, but I haven't played that game yet either.
yeah.
So,
Which again, soon
yes.
we'll, we'll get it there eventually.
Yep.
um, but I would like to see. That's kind of things like I don't want it modernized, but I do want modern thinking to come into it and go, how can we polish it up and add a layer of wax, and
Yeah.
how can we put a little grease in the cogs?
Okay.
Like again, it's like for me, playing dwarves, I literally have
Yep.
a 3-inch movement.
Yeah, that's slow. Yep.
I can't even wheel properly. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like I don't know how you feel it felt in your game, but in
Hmm.
mine, all of mine, every game I've played, movement is just awful. I feel so locked in.
Right.
Um, and again, I think I think one area that they should try and figure out is how do we make it so deployment doesn't determine the game?
I was gonna say, definitely from the games I played, it felt like if you didn't notice or realize how to set up matchups, you were just kind of screwed because you're not gonna redeploy yourself in the game to get something
Right,
smoothed out that you realize, ooh, I didn't want to fight that.
right,
It's okay. This unit's gonna get smashed. What am I gonna do about that?
right. Like I said, I think I would like to see something. Again, honestly, I think it's just across the board, movement
Mhm.
numbers go up.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe not so like maybe not across the board, but like no one should be having a 3 movement.
right. Yeah,
Um,
a wheel not taking you to a 45-degree difference.
Right.
of your movement.
Right.
That
Listen,
block.
I
Yeah.
think like that would be another thing is like everyone gets
Free
so much
reflexes.
wheeling before like you can go okay now I start measuring my movement.
Right.
I think having retreating. I cannot win this matchup, so I should be able to back up
Right.
without giving my
Without getting
opponent the
myself
opportunity.
killed.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Like there, I should be able to go. Okay, guys, we can't win this. We should probably leave, as opposed to they're leaving. Overcharge the shit out of them. Like,
Right.
but again, like the overcharges. I mean, it's just
Yeah, it can be brutal if they make it through.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's. I would like to see, and again, I know this is going to be very painful for a lot of the old school fantasy guys, but I would like to see that level of swing be
Yeah.
taken out,
Okay.
where it's not okay, so I lost by one, so here's a poor roll followed by a poor roll, and there goes a quarter of my army.
Right.
That needs to be gone.
Hmm.
Um, Again, there's still plenty of room to be crunchy about things.
Right.
You can be crunchy without statistically losing a quarter to half your army in
I
one swing,
suppose.
right?
Yeah.
And like, oh, how many bad dice rolls do you need to do that? Oh, just the one, just the one.
Just the one. That'll do it. Yep.
So yeah, so I ran away, and then oh, did you roll too low? No, I rolled too high, and I just ran off the board. Oh, that.
Right.
Did you have fun doing? No, I didn't have fun
No, no, I
moving
set
up.
up the army and then it ran and we were done.
Uh, because again, I think there is an amazing game there.
Yeah.
Um, but like again, like I go back and I play basic Dungeons and Dragons,
Hmm.
and I make my elf, not
Right.
elf warrior, not elf rogue, my elf,
Yep.
and I have an incredible amount of fun with my elf.
Right.
Um, but while I'm playing, I do go, boy, 40 years ago they didn't think about X, Y, or Z.
Right. No, that's for certain.
Um, and it's the same here. So like, I definitely think because they said they're basically going to combine everything that really worked from fourth to eighth or third to eighth. Doesn't matter.
Right.
They're basically going to go back and look because like the first two editions I think were more of a role playing game,
Okay.
but they're basically going to go back and look at all the real editions and go what worked, what didn't work, and let's combine it. So I hope while they're combining old stuff,
Hmm.
they take a little bit of new stuff.
Right. Okay. No, I see what you're saying.
Like objective play.
Yes.
If you fix the movement issue, you can have some objective things.
Yeah, not just, okay, how many people have gotten murdered by the end of this
Right.
game
Right.
type thing, except for the Watchtower.
Right. Because it's like, okay, so this game you're going to deploy on a diagonal, and
Right.
you're going to determine the winner by who kills the most.
Yep.
Okay, what about the next game? Cool, you're going to deploy along the sides, and then whoever kills the most wins the game.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I know we kind of I was a little bit more negative than I was expecting it to be.
That's
but
okay.
I'm actually, like I said, I'm more hyped for it now than I was 2 weeks ago.
I have to say, I agree with you. Definitely. I'm more interested in what may come to be out of that game.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, just taking that old 8th edition Warhammer Fantasy, giving it a modern game design spin to it, and I think that's all it really needs. I mean, by
But
the end
how
of it,
much-
you just
So like I said, for me, I just want like a dash. I just want enough. I want enough modernization to get the a little less grinding out of the wheels and a little more of a
Right,
smooth
right.
move. How much modernization are you looking for?
So I like a lot of what's going on with that game, but there are a few times where there's so many just corner case rules in that game that it came up every single time I played that we found a quarter case.
Yeah.
That's just something weird, or we have to stop and take a look at that rule book. You need to find a way to pull those out, because I think that's what ends up killing it for a lot of just casual people, not like all the tournament players, everything that, like for Age of Sigmar, I have all that stuff nailed down. But this is, let's be honest, Old World's going to be a beer and pretzels game for a lot of guys. They're not going to go off and do a tournament of that. If Age of Sigmar and 40K are there, they're going to play one of those. They're not going to play Old World.
Yeah.
So this has to be a game that you don't have to think too hard about to remember everything. Otherwise, you've shown up to go have a 2 to 3 hour game with your buddy at the game store, and 2 turns in, 2 of you are still looking at rule books to try and remember how this weird quarter case works. And it's time to go home because you only had so long to play at the game store. So I think it probably needs a lot more than what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you can still get the same rank and flank feel out of this game.
Yeah. Well, leave it to the Gen Zer to want to burn down the past.
Whoa now. Not Gen Z here. Don't hit me with that. Jeez.
Hey, look, I get hit with millennial, and
I'm still a millennial here. Come on. They just made that one a wide spectrum.
Yeah. So, well, again, like I said, we'll continue to cover it, and we're still going to continue talking about it. So okay. So we're at the end of the year here, so there's some obligations that I think as a YouTube channel we have to do.
Okay.
Let's do quick award show.
Cool. Okay.
We're going to give out some big Emmys.
Big Emmys. Jeez, let me prepare myself here. I was unaware we were giving out the big Emmys.
I apologize. There's no prize. There's no cash award, and I do not have any graphics or props.
That's fine.
Just imagine what's is it the Grammy or the Emmy where it's the thing like holding up the ball?
I think it's the Grammy.
Yeah, so just imagine
the Emmy is the one with the wings. Yeah,
replace the ball with a D6 and then just make it fat. And that's
there we go. I like that.
Okay, so let's just go through here. We'll go through a couple quick categories because I don't have a whole bunch of categories in my mind.
That's fine.
What do you think was the best war scroll that came out this year?
Ooh, boy. Best war scroll that came out this year. That's a lot of war scrolls that came out this year, Matt, for me to be thinking about. So, on a personal favorite level, the non-named king for the Deepkin, especially whenever you just decide to make him a murder hobo. Oh boy, is it fun when it works.
You know what? I'm just going to go for that too. I'm just going to go.
Yeah, that is so entertaining. I have actually, the first night it came out, Chuck and I hurried up and got a game in. I charged and was within 3 inches of 5 different units of him. I got so many attacks. It was ridiculous. It was plus 10 attacks on the spear and the sword.
Wow.
I just ripped things apart.
How many points is he?
250.
Yeah, fuck you.
That game, yeah, no. I believe Chuck had kind of half helped set me up for that, but that was a long bomb charge out of nowhere. Thankfully, because of that 14-inch movement, which until people actually see a 14-inch move, they don't realize how much board you're covering. Yeah.
Well, I just think about my War Stomper being capped at 10 attacks.
Yeah.
When he's supposed to be the anti-horde guy.
Right. Now, see, if I were to only be fighting a War Stomper, I'd only get +2.
Yeah. Okay, so best battle tome of the year.
Best battle tome of the year. Let me just pull everything up here real quick. Just so I'm not forgetting about somebody. So, I do feel as though the Sylvaneth book pulled them up and out of quite the slump myself.
Yeah.
Just because, especially after getting smacked down by them earlier this year down in Tennessee. Um, Boy, there's a lot going on with that army now, and the way you can play it, and the movement shenanigans, and it doesn't feel like it's just the worst thing you can be taking,
Yeah.
which is always good. So I think, not because it is the best, most powerful or anything, but hey, I might see that army on the table again and not think, oh, cool, free win.
Yeah. 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 I think for me, I'm gonna go with Lumineth.
Okay.
I think it took an army that was absolutely abhorrent to play against,
Yeah.
and it gave you a debuff army that you could still enjoy your game.
It's pretty good.
Again, I still think Total Eclipse needs a little bit of rework, but overall, I'll give it. I'm gonna just because it was such a dark horse. Like I had already written the book off before it came out.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Now on the opposite, what is the most disappointing battle tome?
Huh. Most disappointing battle tome to come out this year. I hate to say this just because I know it's going to hurt you, but Fire Slayers was really disappointing
Yeah,
because I don't know what they did with that book, but I don't think they did much with it.
yeah. Honestly, looking at the battle tomes that came out this year,
Yeah.
um, there's very few. Like I would say, like what do we have? So I would say potential runners up,
Hmm.
just going out of order
Yeah.
order of release here, not order of running upness. Like
Sure, sure.
Daughters of Cain for not fixing bow snakes.
What do you
Um,
mean? They just let Marathi have access to all the spells, and they said, "Cool, we fixed the tome."
yeah. Um, I know a lot of people have been saying decent things about it, but I would say I would put the Skaven battle tome potentially on the list
Yeah, I
because
think a lot of people were disappointed with it as well.
yeah, I don't think it did. I think it went in the right direction, but it didn't go far enough.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then also like again, Sons of Behemoth. Um, just because it's I know a lot of people liked it, and again, I think it's actually the same thing as the Skaven, where it's the right direction,
Hmm.
and so like they changed things around.
Gave you some fun abilities. Oh, cool, we're
That's
gonna
the thing is like
suplex a
honest,
monster.
right?
Yeah,
They gave a lot of very situational cool stuff.
right.
Um, but again, I still don't think the book is in the right place.
Okay.
And again, that's separate of its win rate because even if the book is winning every single game or anything like that, it's not. It's closer, but it's not there.
Right.
But no, Fire Slayers is the only book I think this year came out that is objectively negative.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
don't think we got much more out of it.
all right, and then lastly, we'll do
Okay.
the last one here, model of the year.
Mm, Model of the year. I'm trying to think what all we got this year right now, if I'm honest with you.
Didn't you vote for the thing?
No, I didn't vote for the
You
thing.
didn't vote for the
I never.
thing.
I don't vote for the thing. Why would I vote for the thing?
Well, again, you could look and basically go, okay, we got a general for each one of the, or a new hero for each one of those armies.
That is true. Actually, I'm looking for the voting right now so I can go and have a quick look at what all models we got here.
I'll give you a spoiler for mine. It's not King Broad.
Really?
Fucking Jesus Christ! They're the GW's the only fucking company that goes to the batting cages to bunt. All right.
Oh Oh boy. Sorry, buddy. I am having to go and look everything up here so that I can actually.
Now, don't forget though that also includes a lot of 40k and Middle Earth stuff. So,
I know.
basically we have the Flame Keeper.
Um,
Say as the braided beard. Who you got that? The fish guy. That's real helpful. The
Yeah. Oh, the fish fella. The fish fella.
what
Here
was
we
he like a
go.
reaver?
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
Essentially.
there's
Here we
what
go.
2 ones for Night Haunt.
Trying to find it. Boom, vote now.
I
Oh,
think
jeez.
the army that got the most support was Sylvaneth.
Was it?
Well, I think they got 2 new units.
Okay.
Remember they got the Bug Riders that can be broken down into 2 units. Then
That's
they got
true.
the Revenants that just have wings. Then they got the Lady
Yeah.
of Vines.
True.
Zinch got the guy with the 2 heads, the caster guy.
Yeah.
Sons of Bahamut got 2 new builds for their kit.
True. Yeah.
Lumineth got the lady on the rock, the Enlightener.
Hmm. Boy.
So it really wasn't too much this year.
No, it really wasn't trying to look through it. Ah, jeez. It's really not a whole lot to go off of here. Going for Age of Sigmar especially.
Yeah.
Because it was just a bunch of heroes for the year. And then basically the Sylvaneth book, which was needed. It was good. Oh, the Kromspine Incarnate was in there.
You are not going with the
No, I'm
Incarnate.
not. I'm just messing with you now. That was terrible. I said such bad things about it whenever that model first came out.
I mean, I guess that's true. It is a model. If you want to go with like, say, like that that terrain piece, that's the combination of like the
Oh,
the
boy.
Lumineth thing and the water coming out. And
Yeah. You know what? No, I think I am gonna have to go with it's the box set for this one, but the Gossamed Archers for
Okay.
Sylvaneth, they're all pretty well flowing. There's something
Mhm.
going on with all of them. They're got a lot of good contrapposto to them. I like them.
All right. I think I'm gonna have to go with the Flame Keeper from the Fire Slayer.
The Flame Keeper.
I
Okay.
think it's a really
Okay.
cool model. So there
I
we
mean,
go.
it's a Fire Slayer to me, so I guess there's something going on that's different there.
See, again, to me, each one looks vastly different and unique in their
I'm
own way.
glad that you can tell your children apart. The rest of us can't.
All right. So now that the big Emmys are over,
Yeah.
looking forward, what would you like to see happen either specifically in 2023 or we'll just go near future?
So obviously we have the rest of the army books coming out
Right.
this year.
Right.
So I want a reason to maybe put these Deepkin away for a little bit, as I own every model in the range over the last 2 years. I started in 21 with this army.
Yeah.
I now own every model in the range. I have a painted version of every model in the range. I am 17 models away from being done painting this army, probably for a long time, if not for good.
Yeah.
I want to put them away. I want to go back to corn. I want a good reason to, though. I don't want to be like, oh no, it's the new book. I have to. It's
Yeah.
I'm excited to play this army because there's something fun going on with it.
Yeah,
That's what I want to see.
I mean, I think that's a nice, easy one. I think that makes a lot of sense. Because again, I mean, you've been dedicated to Idoneth for a while.
I have. It's okay though if I have to put the fish to sleep for a little bit.
I I mean, I kind of have the same thing that I've had since the first Jonas Handbook, where like I still, as much as I enjoy Age of Sigmar and as much as I like it, I still don't feel like I have a home.
Right.
Like I find things that are fine. Like it's
Hmm.
like I can play it, it's fine, but it's like it doesn't speak to me. Like
Right.
um so who knows? Maybe Cities of Sigmar will do something with the dispossessed that'll spark
Right.
them. Maybe the humans will be cool. I don't know. Again, I
Right. Hopefully,
honestly,
this General's Handbook helps get you more excited and back into the game as well.
which I think it will. I think again, I think it'll be
Yeah.
no. I think I'll be able to put some Stormcast together and get some fun times on the table.
Good.
Um, but like I said, I mean, I don't know what it would take to get my army. Like I don't know
Right.
what that looks like at this point. Um, because again, like I what's funny is like I really do like that the way that the dwarfs play, where it is that you have to get past my line.
Right.
My line itself doesn't necessarily do the damage. It's all the shooting behind it, but that doesn't really work in Age of Sigmar.
Right.
And like I know a lot of people are saying like, well, just play KO because that's how they play. Like you just shoot people, and I'm like, well, it's not just shooting people. Like it's
I want there to be some melee in there.
right. Like
Yeah.
I want the melee in there. I want to be able to like hold the line and
Right. It doesn't have to be great. It just has to tie people up and let me
right.
shift
And again,
behind
the
it.
the issue
Yeah.
with like KO is, it, whenever it first came out, it was like, just take one boat because you shouldn't, like they're a waste of time, and now it's like, don't take dwarfs because they're just a waste of time. And
Right. Yeah.
so again, like I said, I mean, it's for me specifically what I would like to see. Again, this is all of my wants are kind of more far off because I don't see anything in the immediate future.
Right.
Like there's that kind of that hope where, Corn comes out,
Hmm.
you really like the demons, and something speaks to me about the mortals, and I decide to
Yeah.
do a mortals army, and then that way we can both be
I
Corn
mean, that'd
buddies.
be fine with me because if I'm being completely honest with you, most of what I own is the demons.
Right.
Like I own some mortals, but that was because it was needed to make the army run at the time.
What's it? I like the way the mortals look over the demons.
Yeah. No,
Like
that's
that's
fair. The demons are old models
well, yeah.
mostly,
But I
except
mean,
for
like just like just
bloodthirsters.
the like even like say like for Total War where you can see the corn demons, like
Right.
the aesthetic. I really like the aesthetic, but I like
Right.
the way that they actually did the mortals more.
Okay.
Um, but so going far out, so just going to no date, no
Yep.
time frame. Um, I would like to see them start doing line refreshes.
Yeah. There's
Don't
a couple that need the time for
don't
that. We don't
just
need new armies.
right.
Let's just
Don't
yeah.
just give me another hero to go. Here's something new. Like if you want, if the next time Stormcast come out, you don't give them a new chamber. You go
Right.
back and like maybe
Redo the liberators. Yeah.
redo the Liberators. Um,
Right.
like redo Seraphon, redo like and
Yeah.
not even
Seraphon could use
redo
a refresh.
Seraphon. Just go, here are skinks, here are Saurus warriors,
Right.
and then we can worry about it later. Like that's one thing I think they should have done in third is they should have went, you get a hero, you get a new battle line or refresh battle line,
Yeah.
hero battle line, and then and then in fourth edition it goes, you got a battle line last time, here's your hero, you got a hero last time, here's your battle line.
Yeah, that wouldn't hurt at all.
Because like we're getting to the point where the farther we push it off, the more armies need it. Because like I said, I mean, I brought up Stormcast and you said Liberators.
Right.
We're getting to the point where models that have been put out in the last 7 years are
Starting
already
to show their
looking
age. Yeah.
old. And then we have models that are almost as old as you are.
Right. Then we go to the Skaven group.
Right. And it's like you just let it sit. Like, you don't have to refresh the whole line. If whenever the Skaven book came out, you re-released Clan Rats.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
one box.
Yep.
One box. And
I don't disagree.
Right. So I would love to see them start focusing on, instead of trying to do these massive sweeps,
Yeah.
just getting, here's one thing for you. And so then by that time, in 4 years from now, everyone has stuff that looks half decent, as opposed to right now where there are the favored sons and then the ones
Yeah. Yeah.
the ones that we've given up on. Like,
Fair enough.
and then honestly, like, I know 4th edition is that 2024 or 2025?
I think it's 4.
24.
Yep.
I would love 2024. We get away from Stormcast being the banner boys for the box,
Okay.
and we get Dawnbringer Crusade
Right.
versus Chaos Dwarfs.
Versus Chaos Dwarfs, and that be a box set we get for the start of
4th edition. And then that way the Chaos Dwarves are then the new army for 4th edition.
right.
And hopefully, like, with that, there would be something.
Yeah.
Because I was looking up Chaos Dwarves, like, because we were playing Fantasy, and it's like Chaos Dwarves are like this weird nebula thing.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, like, I don't know how anyone's ever actually played them in Fantasy. Their points are insane.
Oh, just cheap as dirt.
No, they are expensive beyond all get out.
Oh, really?
I put a list together that had 2 heroes. One hero
Okay.
was a kind of a little bit of a. I put too many points into it, but
Right.
for the points I put into it, it was still 500 and almost 50 points.
Okay.
It was a level 3 wizard on a mount that was
Yeah.
also a level 2 wizard.
Okay.
But like that should probably be 400 points. But again, you're still talking about 25% overcost. So
Right.
here's the list real quick. So that guy, BSB,
Mhm.
a block of 20 warriors,
Okay.
a block of, I think it was 12 warriors with guns, 12 warriors with guns, the engine that makes it so you can pull war machines,
Okay.
and 2
Your
war
train?
machines.
Oh.
That's the whole list.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, that's a little rough.
the stats are not that different from dwarves,
Right.
but the points are all like 30 to 40% higher.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
They
like,
really think Magic's gonna do that much for them, huh?
no, it's not. But no, I would love to see the reimagination, because like I think the Chaos Dwarves from Fantasy are like, what's funny is like the actual rank and file, or the Dwarf Warriors, Chaos Dwarf Warriors,
Right.
little cheesy,
Okay.
little kind of goofy looking. But then as soon as you get like one step up into their elites, where you get into their infernals, whenever they have the high, like the heavy armor, they
Yeah.
look really cool. They look like stuff that's already represented in Warcry.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, so on top of the unique features of the train,
Yes.
they also have fire elementals.
Okay.
So they have fire elementals.
Okay.
They have dwarf bullgors,
Okay.
like not bullgors. They're like centaurs.
Oh, okay.
So like they're centaurs. They have like the big beards, and like they're really cool looking as well. I'm like, these
Yeah.
are all things that like the Age of Sigmar sculptors, in the style they're sculpting right now,
Yeah.
could just go insane with it.
Just keep running with it and go.
Like, here's
Yeah.
the thing, like, because that's one of the things is like, I look back, like we were just talking about squads, and
Yeah.
how that style is completely dead.
Hmm.
These, like the Chaos Dwarf models, were out of their time period. Like they were
Right.
made. It was like it was almost looked like they took our modern stuff and then they tried to retro it.
Right. Okay.
I can see the
Someone was
modern
ahead of their
style
time
in
modeling
them,
all that. Yeah.
and it's like just I would love to see it represented.
Right.
Again, I'm sure they'd fuck it up, and I wouldn't want to play it, but
Of course. Of course.
but there's no way that there'd be no there'd be unit variety
Sounds
because
it.
there's
Yeah.
already unit
Because you're
variety.
all over the place. Yeah.
And two, so we got the Fire Slayer problem resolved,
Right.
and two, there's no vehicles outside of the train, but so you're going to have to put dwarfs on the table.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Other than that, like I said, I would like to see the General's Handbooks calm down.
Yeah, I think this 6 month thing, it's cool for what they're doing right now, how they're highlighting every unit. I think not enough people play Age of Sigmar often enough for it to be good for the
Yeah.
game.
I
There's probably a lot more people than we realize buying
Right.
a General's Handbook, playing one event worth, maybe two events worth of games, and then having to buy another one.
Yeah. Again, I honestly think that they could get away with General's Handbook coming out in late summer, early spring, or early fall,
Yep.
and then 6 months later, around January, you come out with, let's say, for lack of a better term, the Sergeant's Handbook that
Mhm.
adds like 6 more battle maps, battle plans,
Right. Yeah.
and then find a better way to integrate narrative.
Right.
Because like if you look through, so like I was looking through the Thondia book
Hmm.
because I was like, it might be actually kind of cool to do
To
a
play that.
campaign.
Yeah.
And like there, I feel like they ruin the campaign experience because they go, well, it's this army and this army versus this army,
Right.
and it's
And
like,
then you're locked in.
no. You just need to
Right.
do. You need to
Here's
figure
the
out a
special
way.
rules for the battleground. Yeah.
Right. It's basically like what you need to do is you just need to figure out teams, whether it's order, death, destruction, chaos,
Right.
or you do like, hey, here's team A, which consists of these armies. Team
Hmm.
B consists of these armies, and here's like your free runners. And then whenever you set up your plan, this is how each one of those models are like each one of those units go individually.
Right. Yeah.
And that way, like, you're not going, oh, I don't have a Stormcast army, so I guess I can't do it. Throw the book away.
Right.
And I think if you could just go, take the army you have now and play it in this way, you're going to see people doing it.
Right.
Especially if, hey, you know how you've been playing the same 8 battle plans for the last 6 months?
Yeah.
Here's a new way to play for a little bit.
Right. No, I don't disagree.
And then, like I said, dial back the overreach of the General's Handbook right now. We do not.
Yeah, no, if we go to a once per year, you
Okay.
definitely have to tone back what all it's doing.
We
in
do
the game.
not need the General's Handbook to come in and go, okay, remember how you played the game? No, you don't.
Yeah.
It's way too much. So,
Yeah, no, I've been a component of 6 months is too fast for a game that takes this long to play.
right. I think whenever 4th edition comes out, again, this will be a better conversation next year whenever we're
Right.
closer to it, but I would like to see pare these rules back.
Yeah. Just General's Handbook, 6 month update, which is basically balancing.
Right.
And hey, here's things we got wrong in the General's Handbook. Here's
Right.
things that might be wrong in points. Here's a battle plan or two.
Right.
Okay,
I
cool.
think-
We'll see you guys in 6 months whenever we sell you the new book.
Yeah, exactly. I think if the 6 month, I have no problem with them releasing a book every 6 months, but I think if we get the General's Handbook and then we get a supplemental General's Handbook,
Okay. See, I think they shouldn't even be selling us a supplemental General's Handbook in 6
Well, like I
months.
said,
I think maybe a narrative book in that 6 months.
and again,
But I think for the how to play, Nah, just give us that in the FAQ that everyone can access for free online,
Yeah, yeah.
or
Well, like I
that the
said, I mean,
code that you got in your book lets you have access.
I know whenever we were the year that we went to
That would rip.
NashCon, we
Yeah.
were doing a lot of events,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I was getting tired of the same battle plans over and
I
over again.
I agree.
So that's why I think if you just do a supplemental where, hey, here's some new battle plans, here's
Hmm.
some rebalancing of the points, and
You want
here's a
you
narrative
want my
filler.
real hot take here?
Yes.
What they need to do is, you know how we all agree, everyone who plays Age of Sigmar, every time we get a General's Handbook since second edition. During second edition, this was not true, but now it is. We get 4 good battle
Yes.
plans, and then 6 that are, boy, which iffy one are we going to have to play when we go to that event? Instead, what you do is you go, okay, these 4 worked. These are going to go to the next one. All right. If you didn't work, just fucking axe it.
Yeah.
It only good battle plans. No more of these iffy ones. Go back through to the first General's Handbook for third edition. Grab those 4 good ones. Grab the 4 good ones from this one. All right, we're gonna put those 8 in a book because now there will be variety whenever I go
Yeah.
to an event because there's actually 8 good battles.
Yeah.
Because that's the problem is if I go to a 2-dayer, I can already tell you what 4 missions I will play, and then depending on who's running it, I'll be able to tell you what my 5th one is.
Yeah.
If I've got 8 to 10 good ones, they can do whatever they want. And I might not actually see the same mission that I saw 2 weekends ago.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, I think it would be interesting if that's another thing they could do is they don't you're only gonna be able to come up with so many battle plans.
Right. I'm not saying we need 20.
If
We
you
need
want
10
to
solid.
like if they want to like what they start doing is like, hey, here's 2 or 3 like you said that worked before, and we're
Right.
gonna bring them back.
Yep. I'm okay with that.
Like that's fine because like, oh man, cool, I really like this, I'm glad we're gonna see it again. There's
Right.
nothing wrong with that. Like now again, if
I
they're
last
like,
saw this a year ago. I'd love to play it again.
right,
Cool.
but like if they're like, hey, here's knife to the heart, you're like, okay.
Yeah, I've played that in every single event. So,
All right.
one more ain't gonna hurt.
Um, again, the other thing I would like, and no one agrees with me,
Uh-oh.
I want to see grand strategies rolled into the battle plan.
Ooh, okay. That is a little bit extra setup. But I see what you're saying.
And give you and again, on top of that, I'll continue and go with my old thing. What I said about General's Hand or the grand strategies from the beginning is points, different points.
No, I will, now that I've done it enough, I will forever agree because there are some that are easy and some that are difficult. And there should be some that are worth 1 point and some that can be worth the full 3.
Right.
And yeah, I think you can make grand strategies worth more or less depending on how difficult they are to achieve.
Yeah. And then that way, again, I'll leave it to the professionals, but they can play test
Right.
whether at the end of the match you can go, okay, let's see here. Did I make any? Oh, I got the 1-pointer. Okay, so I'll
Right.
go with the
Yeah.
1-pointer for my general. Or you have to say which one you're going at the beginning, like the.
No, I think you say which one you're going with at the beginning. And if you decide to challenge yourself with a 3-pointer, you just decided I built my army to just do this 3-pointer because the 3 extra points will win me a game. Cool.
Because I said, I find I have no problem with the concept of a grand strategy.
Right.
I feel the execution is just bland, and I feel it has to be.
Yes, because if it isn't, then you have, like we have right now, the Daughters of Cain book, where there's an auto include. You take that one because you get it for free.
Right. And
Which,
it's like you basically.
That's fine, but that can be the 1-pointer.
Right. And it's like you have to come up with these really bland, overarching general grand strategies because they have to work for 10
Every
different.
Yeah.
They have to work for the however many armies and then the however many battle plans.
Right.
Whereas if the battle plan goes, okay, look, here's one where there's 3 objectives, the 3-pointer is own all 3 objectives.
Right. Something like that.
I mean, like, that's okay.
And then the 1-pointer is own 1 objective with a battle line at the end of the game.
Or like,
yeah,
your general has to be holding an objective. Like it.
Right. Your general is alive at the end of the game.
Right. And like I said, so that way it's like, like that way you actually, it gives another step of depth to the battle plan.
Right.
And then on top of that, like I said, it's just, it has some flavor. You added a little bit of salt, like a little paprika. That's
yeah, I hear you.
Because again, right now, like, what's the one everyone takes? The defend what's ours or take what's theirs, or
oh yes. Well, I mean, just destroy all enemy battle line and all that. So yeah, you do that, or I forget what it is now. I can't even remember the name of it off the top of my head. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, I do think it is take what's theirs, where you have more units
more in their side
territory than they do.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, clearly they're trying to get to my side and I'm trying to get to their side, so
we should swap sides of the table at some point if we're doing good here. Yeah.
Yeah, at least like whenever I was playing with Stormcast, I would go with the one that is have a Galician veteran in every quadrant.
Right. Yeah, because you could deep strike in and get it.
Well, no, I would just charge.
Oh, that's right. You charge over because it wasn't that far of a walk.
I just charge into the exact middle and hope that I can keep 1 unit of Vindictors alive that are existing in all 4 quadrants.
There you go.
All right, so I think that is. I think that's our year end review, our next year predictions.
Yeah.
Do you got any others?
No, I don't. I don't right now.
Come on. Well, you got to do one. So I came up with the wild
okay
Chaos Dwarves. So you have to come up with something wild.
Something wild that we're gonna get.
Ridiculous. Like we're getting a Sigmar model.
No. So you know how we all love the Karnspine Incarnate, and we all think it was a damn mistake.
Yeah.
We're gonna get 2 more of them this year. Just double up on the mistake.
If we get 2 more, you're out.
Just more of them. Just
keep going.
Keep it up.
God.
You're going to play your army, but it won't actually be your army. It will be a smattering of it, and then 3 different incarnates, and that'll be it.
You're just going to take a hero on foot and incarnates, because guess what? Incarnates are now also battle line. Huzzah!
Yes, that'll be it.
Yeah, that's my wish. Battle line incarnates. That's
perfect.
Stupid game. Stupid episode. You ruined the whole thing.